Hi, I'm Leo Laporte. It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. I've got a brand new phone. This is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I took some pictures yesterday. I'll show you those.
And I'm Micah Sargent, and can you believe I'm going to answer a printer question?
Better you than me, Micah. Plus, we're going to celebrate the 17th anniversary of the Giz Wiz, and we've got a visitor from down south. It's all next on Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte. Episode 1962, recorded Sunday, February 19th, 2023, the Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by ACI Learning. Tech is one industry where opportunities outpace growth, especially in cybersecurity. 1/3 of information security jobs require a cybersecurity cert. So maintain your competitive edge across audit, IT, and cybersecurity readiness by visiting go.acilearning.com/twit. And by 8 Sleep. Good sleep is the ultimate game changer, and the pod cover is the ultimate sleep machine. Go to 8sleep.com/twit to check out the pod cover and save $150 at checkout. 8 Sleep currently ships within the USA, Canada, the UK, select countries in the EU, and Australia. Thanks for listening to this show as an ad-supported network. We are always looking for new partners with products and services that will benefit our qualified audience. Are you ready to grow your business? Reach out to advertise@twit.tv and launch your campaign now. Well, hey, how are you? It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. I'm Leo Laporte on the right side of your screen.
And I'm Micah Sargent on the left side of the screen.
It's hard because it's the opposite for us.
Yes.
Should we put this in mirror mode and then it would be 4111?
I don't want to add any more complexity. That's just asking for trouble.
How are you, everybody? Good to see you. I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. You haven't been sleeping on the couch. You've had the weather's turning a little bit, at least in our little neck of the woods. The cherry blossoms are in bloom, which is beautiful. Pretty. It's very pretty. And I have a lot of pretty pictures to show you because in just a few minutes, I am going to review... No, that's the iPhone.
That's a different
It's
phone.
Sometimes hard to tell, isn't it? That's the iPhone Pro Max. And this is the brand new. You can tell by the number of holes.
Yeah, it's got a lot of holes.
The brand new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I've only had it for a day, but I took a bunch of pictures yesterday at the beach. And so I'll show you. I did some pictures with both phones to give you an idea of the differences. Otherwise, I mean, I think they're both excellent phones for if you've got more than $1,000 to spend. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Chris Marquardt is coming up. He's got a new photo assignment. We'll do a review of the pictures you took from his last photo assignment. We are going to celebrate a big anniversary with Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest Writer. And we have, I can't show it to you.
The back cover.
We have the new Mad magazine in-house. We'll show you that at the time. I just got this in the mail. I'm so excited. So I bought something on Amazon. Let me cover up the QR code. I bought something on Amazon, and I got this letter from the people I bought it from. Dear valued customer, thank you for purchasing the thing, I won't say what it is, on Amazon. We hope the product's working well for you. Here is a $30 Amazon gift card for leaving us a positive review. That's, of course, Amazon forbids it.
Yes, that is not
They even
allowed.
say, whatever you do, don't post this letter in your review. I'm tearing it up, and I'm going to be gentle and not name names, but...
It's a bad move.
That's bad.
One time the same thing happened, and the mail piece actually got lost, and so I didn't know what it was at first. But I had looked through and I saw that something was supposed to be coming. I found the address from whence it came, and I kid you not, it was just a plain dirt patch in the middle of Missouri somewhere. And so they had purchased this dirt patch in the middle of Missouri to send it in the mail.
They don't want to get caught.
Exactly.
Right. Probably a Chinese company.
Yeah.
Hey, other big breaking news. It's pretty exciting. For the longest time, when Apple came out with Apple Silicon, they turned off Boot Camp, that thing that really was kind of cool on Macs where you could partition your drive. It did it all automatically, install Windows, and a Mac could be a dual boot Mac and Windows machine. And Apple had to do that because, frankly, It was a small percentage of the desktop. Most people wanted to run Windows. At the time, Walt Mossberg, the tech columnist at the time for the Wall Street Journal, said the MacBook is the best Windows machine you can buy. It was a pretty good Windows machine. A lot of people were upset because sometimes we have to run Windows, don't we, to do our work, or maybe we want to play a game or whatever. That Boot Camp was gone. Apple's only response at the time was, well, if you want to run Windows, you have to run it in virtualization using one of the virtualization tools, VMware, Fusion, or Parallels, or OneBox, which is a free open source one. The problem was Microsoft, in order to run Windows on a Mac, you had to use Windows on ARM. Microsoft's Windows on ARM was never official for the Macintosh. It was never official for Apple Silicon. We think it's because they had a deal with Qualcomm that said Qualcomm exclusive. So you could get a Windows on ARM machine running on Qualcomm, but it was always a beta version of Windows on ARM for the Mac. Well, this week, in fact, it was, I think, yesterday or the day before, 16th of February, Microsoft said, it's official. You can now run Windows on ARM officially, not a beta version, using Parallels, which is one of the virtualization solutions on an Apple with Apple Silicon.
So Parallels is happy then because they got
this is the
deal.
Parallels press release. Oh! But I think VMware, I'm sure, will be approved and others will be approved. But for right now, that's what you could do. Now, Parallels I've used for a long time, and I had a Parallels account. So I thought, well, let's see. Let's see how well Windows 11 runs on, this is an M2 MacBook Air with 24 gigs of RAM. First thing that's kind of cool is when you launch it, it says, okay, now you have to download and install Windows. I thought I was going to have to go out and get a copy of Windows 11. But no, it downloads and you can install it. It's going to take a couple of minutes to do this. Once it installs, it runs. Now, there are a couple of negatives. First of all, you have to buy Parallels. And they have subscription or one time only. And it's going to be a couple $100.
Okay.
Then you also, depending on what you get, then you also have to buy Windows because Windows ain't free. You may think it's free because you get it free with your computer. People who had Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10 got Windows 11 for free. So there's this kind of impression, oh yeah, Microsoft, they don't want to make any money on Windows. Oh, they do. And in fact, I had to buy a $200 license for Windows on ARM. But I wanted a licensed version. You can run it unlicensed. In fact, if you're curious, you can run a trial version of Parallels and you can run a trial version of Windows and get a sense of it. But I thought, let's do this for real. It's still downloading. You know something? I'd already done this yesterday or the day before and was playing with Windows and it was running great. I installed some stuff and I wanted to show you some features. And for some reason today, it says you don't have Windows. So I don't know if something got messed up or whatever, but that's why I'm downloading Windows again. We'll continue that in a bit. Once it's done, I will show you Windows running on Apple Silicon. I'll kind of tip my hand, though, on this. It runs really well.
That's exciting.
It's actually very snappy. So I think it's a good choice for everybody, except maybe hardcore gamers. I wouldn't necessarily recommend gaming on it. But if you need to run a Windows app on you, and you want a Macintosh, the only way to have Mac OS is to have a Macintosh. But you can get Windows on it now.
Because in this way, you are running it virtually, right? It's not rebooting and running. It is.
It's running virtually. And the nice thing is, yes, I should say yes, not no.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
The nice thing is, and I'll show you this, something called coherence mode that lets you run a Windows app right next to a Mac app in a window, just like it's a Mac app. So you can run Windows full screen, but you can also run it as a little Mac app, which is pretty cool. Let's see, what else is new? White Castle. Ooh.
This is fascinating.
Ooh. So Illinois has had for a long time now a law restricting the use of biometrics in business. You can't take somebody's fingerprint. In fact, they successfully sued and won hundreds of millions of dollars against Facebook because Facebook was using, you know how Facebook says, well, you know, identify this person and now we'll find them in the other pictures. Illinois says, no, you can't do that. And they fined Facebook a lot of money. Well, now an Illinois Supreme Court on Friday issued an opinion that opens up White Castle to potentially billions in fines, as much as $17 billion in fines. White Castle has been scanning the fingerprints of all 9,500 employees without their consent. You have to scan, if you work at White Castle, you know this. You scan your fingerprint to get your paycheck. You scan your fingerprint to check instead of a punch card. Remember how they used to go? You'd punch the card in the time clock. Did you ever have a time clock? You never had a time clock. No. But
I know what it. Yes,
yeah.
I know.
You're too young. They don't have time clocks, I don't think, anymore. Maybe they do.
Some places, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's somebody somewhere who's like, I will always have a time clock in my business because it's the way we used to do things, the way we'll continue to do things. I have a question, though. How does one scan someone's fingerprint without their consent? If I put my fingerprint on a fingerprint reader,
you kind of know you're doing it.
In and of itself consent? Are they? So they're like, they hand you your paycheck with the little scanner underneath, and so then you grab it and you don't realize your fingerprint's being scanned. This feels kind of like some strange wording.
Well, here's the thing
going on here.
Yeah, obviously, in a way, but this is important. Just because you know that your face is being collected, your fingerprints, that's not necessarily consent. And in order to get their paycheck or access the employee records, they had to scan their fingerprint. In any event, the court said, no, yeah, you can't do that. Now, there's going to be a trial. I think there's going to be a trial. The case isn't over. As the justices noted in their analysis, this is from the Register, the presiding judge could choose what the damages are. The plaintiffs, the employees of White Castle, say, we want White Castle to be fined for every single time they took our fingerprint. The fine is between $1,000 and $5,000 per infraction. And they're saying we interpret the infraction as every single time we were forced to put our finger on that thing, we want $1,000 to $5,000, which could be up to $17 billion. Frankly, I don't think you make that much money on sliders.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I think that put White Castle out of business.
That'd be very bad.
Which is sad because I like a slider. A good slider is delicious. But the judge would have the authority to maybe lower that a little bit. You don't want to put a company out of business. Meta paid, though, $650 million to settle a lawsuit for something similar for that face recognition. So that is, we'll watch that. That is a story of great interest. It's only Illinois. They've had this law since 2008. But I wonder, that's a really good question. When you go to Disneyland and they take and maybe they have a sign. I know when you come into the U.S., there's a sign now that says, your face is going to be scanned.
And in a lot of places, when you go, say, for example, you are going to CES, they talk about how, the second you walk on the show floor, you may be filmed.
Right.
You may have your whole face.
But does that
put
let
on.
you off the hook?
Right.
Is the question.
Yeah.
And of course, in Madison Square Garden, if you're a lawyer that is working for a law firm that is in any way suing MSG, you will not be able to go see a Rangers game. So, and by the way, they're now opening the big dome in Las Vegas, the MSG Dome in Las Vegas. U2 is going to do a residency there. And James Dolan, the guy who runs Madison Square Garden, the Dolan family owns MSG, says, I'm in charge now. So I suspect if you're an attorney suing MSG, don't expect to see U2 either. One last story. Let me see if Windows is still doing its thing. Oh,
something's happened.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. There's that famous spinning thingamajigger. Just a moment, says Windows. So what's cool is that when you install Parallels, it then says, okay, do you want to install Windows? And it downloads it and installs it for you. And that's what's happening right now. And it's running the Windows installation, which is pretty cool. I'll run through this while we talk about our last story. Remember the balloon?
I do remember the balloon. We've been shooting down lots of things.
So there was the Chinese balloon. We shot it. They got everything, by the way. So I hope to some degree that the FBI tells us what was in that balloon. We're pretty sure that one came from China. Now they're saying those three other objects they shot, a couple were in, there was one in Alaska and one in the Yukon. They can't find those.
Oh.
They can't find them.
Oh, no.
They can't find them. But we may know what they are because there's a little club. They call it, the name of the club comes from the name of, do you ever see Up?
Yes.
The bottle cap balloon, the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade.
That's a lot.
Comes from the Up movie. They've been putting they're basically party balloons, those Mylar balloons, up with GPS and stuff.
To do what?
Just for fun. They're hobbyists.
Okay.
They launched one not so long ago that has actually been around the world 7 times now. Because it gets the jet stream and it just goes around and around and around. The radio call sign is K9YO-15. The Bottle Cap Club says it's missing in action. It disappeared on February 10th, the same exact day.
Coincidentally.
The U.S. defense officials detected a high-altitude airborne object over U.S. airspace in Alaska and shot it down. 2 F-22 Raptors were deployed. This $334 million aircraft, 2 of them. It cost $70,000 an hour for them to fly. They shot it down with a $400,000 Sidewinder missile. These balloons cost about $100. They're Mylar party balloons. And the club says, you know, we haven't got confirmation from the FBI, but an stratospheric balloon consultant told NPR, Dan Bowen, he's 98% certain it's the same balloon.
Okay.
It was on its way to Alaska. It disappeared that day. So, hey, good news. It only cost us, you know, I don't know, $500,000. I don't know. But we got it. We got it. And by the way, these balloons, they're yay big. And it's kind of cool what they do. They talk to the NPR talked to the group that shoots these up, fires these up, whatever. No, they let it go. It's a balloon. And it goes high enough that it stabilizes the pressure. They said, but because of that, those Mylar balloons, which are tough at ground level, are actually pretty tender when they get up into the stratosphere there. And they're not, the FAA has approved them. They're not a hazard to air traffic because he said even the jet wash would pop it. It's not not going to hurt a plane.
Right.
So, in fact, you could have just, if they'd flown the F-22 next to it,
it would have been done. Yeah.
Anyway, so the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade's balloon is MIA. It was launched in the fall. It had been around the Earth, 6 times.
Wow.
123 days aloft. The club's not too verklempt because this happens all the time to their balloons. So
also, it's kind of cool if that is what happened, you know.
Well, it's not. It doesn't happen. They aren't shot down by F-22 aircraft all the time.
Exactly.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
First time.
Now they've got that on their list, maybe.
So let's see. Windows has been installed successfully.
That was fast.
Yeah. It was pretty quick, downloading everything. Let's go to full screen. Let's close this. This is, guess what? Microsoft Edge. Yeah, of course it is. Well, let me go back. What did I do? I closed Edge. Let me, where'd Windows go?
Windows.
Where'd Windows go? You close Edge, Windows goes go away. There it is. There's a little icon on the desktop. Let me go full screen here. Yeah. Now I want to show you. Oh, I see what happened. Is it moved somewhere else? Where is it? Where's my Windows? Windows, come back here.
I've actually never seen that 4th button that you're hitting. Usually it's only 3, so I don't know what that 4th
Oh, that's the coherence mode. Oh, thank you for telling me that. I was hitting the wrong button.
Got it.
That's what it is. So now I'm on a Mac. Windows 11 cannot be found.
Why does it keep saying that?
I don't know. I am on Windows. It can be found. I just found it. It's like that balloon. So that, and by the way, look, there's a start menu. It's all of the stuff.
The whole thing.
It's the whole thing. But this is the cool thing. I'm going to show you. Let's launch an app. By the way, the Mac key becomes the Windows key. Let me launch, I don't know. Clipchamp video editor. How about that? So this is a video editor that's only available in Windows. I'm not sure why.
Is this
there it is.
Still unlicensed that you're using?
Well, I licensed it before, so probably it's going to be licensed
just found
again.
it,
Yeah. But we'll see. If not, this site is trying to, because it's a brand new thing, I have to do all the things you would do with a brand new version of Windows. Because it's running an emulation, it thinks it's on a wired network, even though it's on Wi-Fi right now.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because that's what happens. You see the battery level is accurate. The time and everything, the location, all of that is accurate. This is just like I'm running Windows on the hardware, but it's not. I'm running it in emulation. So I've got Clipchamp here. Whoops, there's the store. Let's see what's going on with the store. Oh, it wants to update. I'm sorry, because I had this all updated and ready to go. And then for some reason it decided, no, you need a new, I can't find it.
In honor of Mary Jo, we could do Notepad, right?
Oh, yeah. How about that? Notepad. Everybody needs a little Notepad in Windows, don't you? Because without Notepad, But Macs don't have Notepad. This is Notepad. So this is one of the things that is really cool. Because some people will say, well, I'd like to run Windows and I'd like to run Mac side by side.
Yeah.
But sometimes you might say, I'd like to run a Windows app, and we call this coherence mode, where now I'm running a Mac and I'm running Notepad, and I can launch a Mac app right next to it.
Like text edit.
Let's open Notes. Now I have Notes and a recipe for a lemon drop in case anybody wants one, and Notepad right next to each other. Wow. And I can even cut and paste. So let's say in my Windows, I need a drink. I can put that right in here.
It must be Patch Tuesday. So you can.
So this is called coherence mode. We're running a Windows app.
That is really cool.
Inside a Macintosh, side by side, just like a window. So this is pretty amazing. I would say you could run some games. You could run, more casual games like Solitaire, Minesweeper. No, but you could run some games, Candy Crush. But I wouldn't try to run AAA titles under this. You know what, though? That's what I'll do when I go home.
You should try it, yeah.
I will try to run a AAA title under this. It works really well because Apple Silicon has a virtualization mode that Parallels can use so that you're running it almost. You're not quite on the bare metal, but you're so close. The virtualization is very thin. And that's modern virtualization. That's why you see containers and so forth.
Can we see Microsoft Paint on Windows? The reason I ask is because
it's got a masochist.
It's got a little bit more graphics to it. I'm kind of curious about.
We are also, by the way, and I'll go back. I'll go back full screen on Windows.
Superior trackpad on the Mac. Using that with it.
Let's go back to full screen. So that looks like a real Windows. We also, you notice, have access to the file system, and there's even a folder for the Mac files. So you see, I'm actually seeing these Mac files inside Windows, but then I also have my own Windows file structure. So when I say save in that Notepad, it's going to save it locally in this PC documents in the traditional Windows location. So that all of that is, I think, pretty cool. You want to see Paint? You're a crazy man. You're a crazy man. Don't save. Let's go Paint. Oops, that was a Mac command. Did you see I did that by accident?
Oh,
I did Command Space for Spotlight. Let's do the Windows command, which is just the Windows key, in this case, the Command key. Paint. Let's open Microsoft Paint. There it is. You want me to draw something?
Yeah, let's draw.
Yay! I'm such a good artist.
Do you feel any
I'm
lag
lovely.
or anything?
No. Oh, that's a good question. Lag. No.
Nice. Because
it's
always
kind of amazing
that even with the Microsoft Surface, the trackpad is still subpar in comparison. It's good, but in comparison to what you get with the Mac, I would rather use the Mac trackpad. So it's nice that
even in coherence mode,
it's working. Yeah.
It's pretty snappy. So this is Paint, Microsoft Windows Paint, running side by side with Apple Notes, and it works.
That's cool.
It works. It's pretty cool. Our phone number, if you will, is Zoom, but you can do this on your phone. Just go to your browser, call.twit.tv, call.twit.tv. Zoom will launch, and we will take some calls. We also have, as I said, Dick DeBartolo coming up. In fact, let's do a call now and then get Dickie D on, and then great. Chris Marquardt's coming up. And we have some, I think, 3, count them. 3 video calls from email. If you're shy and you want to call or you want to ask a question but you don't want to call, you can always use the email, which is askthetechguys@twit.tv. So Ryan has had his hand up since before the show began. So I'm going to bring Ryan in, and we are going to say hello to Ryan as our first call of the day. Yeah, the blue. Thank you for noticing that I was clicking the 4th button in. That's the coherence button, not the
like
Zoom
maximize.
Button.
Yeah.
Did we lose? Is Ryan is Ryan gone? I think we lost him.
Oh, I heard something just then.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yay! Woo! Poor Ryan's been sitting there for half an hour waiting for us as we fumfer around. Hi, Rye.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Where are you calling from?
Sacramento, California.
I know that area.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually came out and saw you back in the new screensaver days.
Wow.
And had a good time.
Fun. Yeah, by the way, it looks like on the computer behind you, you've passed. So congratulations.
Yeah, the MEM test passed.
I always like seeing that. What can we do for you, Ryan?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you. You recommended Eero many years ago, and I've used that many times for myself and for my customers. I actually own a small computer repair business here in Sacramento.
Nice.
And also Fastmail. I started using Fastmail for one of
Our sponsor.
for email
I
for
can
one
say
of my domain names.
I've been recommending it for years, but I can now say our sponsor. So that's great.
Yeah, they're great. Been really
I
happy
agree.
with that.
I agree.
So I actually have two different questions. I guess I'll let you guys decide which one you want to handle. One is about OneDrive and how to disable it, and the other one is a really strange Eero/brother printer issue that I can't seem to figure out.
That might be right up because I've got Eero and a brother printer. So
I have a customer and he has an older brother printer and they have Macintoshes and iPhones in the house. And of course, I have them set up with the Eero system. They got that spread throughout and it's working great. We currently have the brother printer Ethernetted into the main Eero base station. So it's on the network through Ethernet cable.
okay.
But the problem we're running into is that the printer will just randomly, at all times of the day, maybe once or twice a day, spit out a page with just a little bit of gibberish and nothing else. And it's not him or his wife trying to print anything. It seems to be completely random and just a bunch of gibberish.
Huh.
Wow. So it's like it's trying to talk.
Yeah. And, as far as we know, we've checked the Eero app. There's no, rogue devices or rogue neighbors on the network.
Mm-hmm.
And so for now, we're just turned off the printer because it's not wasting a lot of ink, but it's wasting paper.
Yeah. A couple of questions here. Firstly, does this older brother printer also support Wi-Fi Direct or have a built-in server that someone could access it through that means? Is it just Ethernet or USB, or does it also have wireless functionality?
It does have wireless functionality. And when I first went over there, he had the Wi-Fi on and connected to the Eeros, and it was also hardwired. And he was having issues where sometimes stuff wouldn't print and sometimes it would. So we decided to disable the Wi-Fi and just use the Ethernet. So as far as I know, the printer is not on Wi-Fi. It's actually turned off inside the printer.
So I have had an issue specifically with my brother printer in the past where I would go to print something and it would seem like it was getting passed to the brother printer and then it would just stall. And I, to this day, never figured out what exactly had caused that issue, but it just kind of went away after a while. I would imagine that the person is keeping their firmware up to date, probably visiting their printer via the IP address, going to the actual printer itself and the settings there. That's a good point because I checked for the firmware update on the printer itself and it said it was up to date, but I didn't try going through the web interface. So that's a good idea. Okay, that's good to know because that would be one of the first things that's worth checking out is figuring out what IP address it has, go to its online server and make sure that it's up to date there, and also that there's not some other. I mean, there you'll be able to see if there are still some connections that are possibly stuck, and there may even be settings to completely reset the print spool. There are a lot of different options there. My only other suggestion, and I solved a friend's issue this way, when you plug in a printer with a Mac and Mac goes and finds the proper connection, it isn't using necessarily the most up-to-date drivers, it's kind of looking for a common denominator. And so I have gone into Apple's support documentation in the past, and we'll include a link in the show notes. I'll get it passed over to John, our producer. There is a page that I have saved for brother printer drivers from Apple, and then a page that I have saved for, there was another printer that I used to have, and I would go and get those anytime I started a new system. And what that provided was a little bit more access for control via the Mac than I would have had otherwise. So that could also be another way to look at that principle, see what is in line to be printed, and see if there's something that's popping up from somewhere that's trying to get printed out.
Okay, that's two good ideas. Thank you very much.
As for OneDrive, Microsoft has gotten very aggressive when you use Windows at encouraging you to use Microsoft services. And now when you install Windows, it installs OneDrive immediately, logs you into OneDrive. If you don't log in, and this is probably why you want to turn it off, it pesters you forever saying, "You sure? OneDrive, it's great." I actually turn it on because and if you have an Office subscription, for instance, I get a terabyte of storage with OneDrive. So I let it, in effect, be a backup for my Windows setup. And then whenever I, as I just did, set up a new Windows, I have all that stuff, which is kind of handy. If you don't want it, though, it's easy. You unlink that PC. So go into a OneDrive on the web, and you'll see all the PCs that are linked. This is probably the best way to do it, rather than uninstalling OneDrive or attempting to turn it off somehow. Just say to that in the settings, this PC, no OneDrive, unlink it. And at that point, OneDrive will just stop bugging you, and you won't see OneDrive anymore on a PC. As I said, I like it. I leave it on, but it's not by any means a requirement, despite what Microsoft might want you to think. You don't have to have it. Yeah.
Well, and I like it too, but I don't want it to take over the desktop and documents and pictures.
Well, that's really annoying. And Apple does that too now. And I think the reason they do that is because they are tired of getting calls from people saying, "I lost all my data." And a normal naive user, none of you, but a normal naive user, doesn't back up, right? And so this way, it's basically backup without you knowing it. Apple does the same thing. Unless you tell them not to, they'll store your documents and your desktop and your downloads, I think, on iCloud. And Microsoft does that by default for documents. And so that's the good reason for doing it. People don't back up. We're going to back up for you. The bad reason is you quickly fill up your free OneDrive or iCloud, and then they can say, "Hey, you might want to buy some more of this." So it's a profit deal. So if you don't want, let me think about this. If you don't want OneDrive to back up, you don't want to turn off OneDrive. You just don't want it to back up those folders. Is that right?
Yeah. And I've done the unlink from the OneDrive app, down in the system tray.
Yeah.
Did you mention to unlink it through the website?
Well, you could do it in the system tray too. It just depends whether you installed it or not. Yeah. So if unlink it in the system tray. Yeah.
My experience was I unlinked it, and then some Windows updates took place. So the next thing you know, it was linked again. And my customers would get confused. They'd say, "Why is my desktop now different?" And basically, OneDrive had taken back over. And it's funny you say Microsoft has been more aggressive, because that's exactly what I tell people. And I don't know what's past aggressive, but I feel like Microsoft is already there.
Yeah, it's actually a problem for me, because a lot of people need to use Windows. Your customers want to use Windows probably in their businesses and stuff. But it's hard for me to recommend Windows for this reason. And even Paul Thurrott, who's the host of Windows Weekly, is starting to get really tired of the incessant needling from Microsoft to install paid Microsoft services and things. It's like, don't you guys make enough money? Why do you garbage up Windows with that? So I'm trying to remember how to turn this off. Is it in settings? Can you turn it off? OneDrive settings.
Well, that's the other thing. The interface has changed recently.
It sure has. I don't recognize this at all.
Even in using Windows 11, I've noticed that, you go in there and you can unlink it pretty easily. but then, like I said, it gets relinked, and then the next time I go in, it looks a little different. So I understand they're, updating things, but for some people that just absolutely aren't going to use it, I just uninstalled it. But myself, I actually use OneDrive, to share large files with vendors or other folks.
Yeah, you don't want to take it, turn it off. You just don't want it to do what it's doing, which is backing up these critical folders. And it's the same thing on the Macintosh. And frankly, the Macintosh, when you set up a new Mac, if you're not quick, it will turn it on. And so you have to know, as I install, there's going to be a point where it says, hey, do you want us to store that? And you got to uncheck that. I suspect there's got to be, unless Microsoft has really become predatory, there's got to be a way to say to it, don't. Let me see if the chat room has any, or the Discord has any.
So I've done the unlink, and then I've told it, don't start when Windows starts. So that way it's just, off.
Yeah.
By default. But on a couple of occasions,
it turns it back on. That's the problem.
Back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a registry switch that can be flipped.
So, I mean, Steve Gibson has a program, but I don't recommend it, that will prevent updates from happening, right? And there's I think 3 or 4 registry keys he modifies. So yeah, there's probably a registry key. There is for everything. Is that the GRC in control? In control, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it because you're not going to get any updates, right? You don't want that either. Although he does talk in it, if you read on his website about In Control, he'll tell you what the registry settings he's modifying are. And that might be helpful because you want critical updates, but you don't necessarily want feature updates. I believe actually In Control gives you that choice right on the screen there. Because you still want critical updates. You don't want feature updates. The question is, are the critical updates going to turn this stuff on again? Microsoft?
Yeah, I've used In Control several times on some mission critical PCs that I support where we need them to stay on Windows 10 because they do a specific task.
Right.
That's important.
So you want to turn that
and
off.
I've noticed, and I've noticed that the important updates still come through on those, but they don't bug you about the feature updates.
I think that was his main intent was, he's a security guy. He's not going to, he wants the critical updates to come through. It's the feature updates that are so annoying. Things like pushing you to Windows 11. There's some information in there that could be helpful. Anybody in our Discord or in a chat have a solution for telling, we don't want to turn off OneDrive even. Let's keep it on, but telling it, please don't back up my documents in those other folders. That's really what we want to do. No one is yet stepping forward with
that and save that setting, because there is a way, I was just reading about it, to tell it not to, but it keeps going back is the problem.
Okay, there it is. Thank you, Cop King. Cop King's very good on this stuff. Right-click the OneDrive icon in the system tray. Click on Settings. You've done that. Manage Backup is the setting you want. And then there are toggles for desktop documents and pictures.
Okay.
And now, Cop King, is this going to turn on again next update? Maybe. Microsoft's been very aggressive about that. And again, that's another thing Paul has railed against. One of the problems, I think, this goes back to Cory Doctorow's enshirtification problem.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a good piece. I can't say the actual name because it's coarse. It's coarse. Enshirtification is my version of it, the Good Place version of it. He notes that most tech companies go through this cycle where the first thing they do when they're building an audience is customer first. Amazon's a good example. Customer first. Then once they've built an audience, businesses first. We built the marketplace, right? Get the businesses. But once they got customers and businesses locked in, as Microsoft does, then the third step is profit. And how do we mine those that customers and those businesses to maximize profit? We're no longer focused on what the user wants. And it's really clear that Microsoft, it's almost two-faced. They care about the user, but they don't care enough about the user not to maximize profits. And this is an example of maximizing profits, in my opinion, under the guise of caring about the user. So they're in that stage, late stage tech company capitalism. And of course, what Cory Doctorow says is this is inevitable. And the only defense against it is to make it easy to move to the next thing. Don't lock people in. If Twitter is starting to, charge you $8 so that you have SMS two-factor authentication, you can move.
Mm-hmm.
And the easier it is to move, the better it is for end users. Because there's always going to be the next guy who wants to, prioritize customers first. They're not ready to start cashing in on them. That's I'm sorry, Ryan. That's the best I can do.
That was good advice.
Yeah. You know what? I think mostly this in this job, in this show, is like, I feel your pain, man.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all
someone
in it
to
together.
commiserate with. Yeah,
it's a commiseration show. Thanks, Ryan.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I think the new show is great, and
thank you.
I love it that we have the time to spend 20 minutes with you talking about this, because I think
it's been great. And you know what? I've been meaning to join Club Twit for a while. I just haven't got around to it, so I'll take care of that right now.
I'll charge you less than Elon.
I love supporting you guys.
Thank you. Take care,
and
Ryan.
as for that Twitter issue, all I did was, instead of joining the blue check, I just added Twitter to my Google Authenticator.
Yeah,
and that way I didn't have to pay. And,
SMS, it's weird because, this is part of the news we didn't mention, is that Elon has decided, as part of his monetization strategy, that if you want phone backup, SMS backup of your two-factor, you're going to have to pay the $8 for Twitter Blue, but you can still use an authenticator. Well, no one should be using a phone.
Exactly.
I removed the phone backup, phone SMS from Twitter a couple of years ago, the minute I could. So no one should do that. I am going to show you, Steve Gibson was talking about an authenticator program that he really likes, and I've started to move over to this. It's 2FAS, 2FAS. And one of the things I like about it, I was using Authy for a long time because Authy saves it on their servers, so it's easy to move from phone to phone, which I do a lot of. I just moved to a new phone, right, the Samsung. So 2FAS doesn't back up to its servers, backs up to your servers, to Google Drive or iCloud. So that way you can have a backup. It's easy to move to a new device or a new computer, but you're not giving anybody else those secrets. So I really like it. 2FAS. It's a nice user interface. It's pretty, and it's a very easy. The only problem is it's such a pain in the butt to set up a new authenticator. That's that's no fun at all.
Hey, you like that better than the Google Authenticator?
Google Authenticator has gotten good because now you can have it saved to Google and use a new phone. So that solved the biggest problem I had, which is that you had to rescan, redo all your 2FA every phone. That's why I moved to Authy. Apparently Google Authenticator does that now. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. They're all doing the same. Sure. It's the same exact protocol. Mm-hmm. So the numbers should be the same no matter what authenticator you're using. This one, Steve recommended. It's open source. It's free. I like it. 2FAS. It's a little prettier than Google Authenticator. I got dark mode, man. Hey, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Have a great one. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Look at this. Mad Magazine. The April edition is out, and today is a special day. Let's bring Dick B. Bartolo into the magic circle.
Ooh,
hello, Dickie D.
Dickie D. Oh, we can't hear you, Dickie D.
He likes to mute his microphone because he wants to eat Cheerios while he's waiting for us. And how many boxes of Cheerios has you been through while you've been waiting for us? We can hear you now, Dick.
Okay, it wasn't muted.
It wasn't you.
Hi.
It was us. It was us.
Oh, right. How quick you are to blame a mad
your
guy.
Cheerios.
Mad's maddest writer. He's been writing for Mad Magazine every issue for the last 5 decades. We're not going to match that record, but we've been doing the Giz Wiz and then now the Giz Fizz for almost as long. What anniversary are we celebrating?
Yeah, tomorrow we will have done our first Giz Wiz show 17 years ago. We did our first show February 20th, 2006.
I would show the video, but there was no video.
No, there was no video. No, you were up in the tower, in the room.
Yeah,
we were on the phone.
In the attic. Yeah.
In the attic.
In the attic. So I guess, how long did we do it on the, because we did 5 daily shows. We did 5 shows a week. And I was exhausted. And we had to give it up a few years ago, and you started doing it with OMG Chad, and you do it weekly with Chad, which is
exactly. Well, we started weekly on Twit too, because you started getting a lot of shows, and your editors were going, why do we have to do 5 shows? Can't you do all 5 gadgets in one show?
Yeah.
So we
smart,
started doing
smart.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm really honored to have known you all these years. You actually, we met more than 20 years ago on Tech TV. I've told this story before.
Yes.
One of my producers, you had emailed us because you were at the time you were doing Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, doing gadgets.
Actually, I was on Good Morning America.
GMA. That's right. You'd moved to
GMA, and they sent me out to San Francisco to cover the Gourmet Show, and I emailed you and Martin Sargent. No,
somebody like
who's
that.
the kind of crazy guy? Yeah,
Martin
anyway.
Sargent. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, can I come in and look at the show? And then someone called me and said, well, you can look at the show, but do you think you would ever consider being on it? And I thought, well, can I be on it for 20 years?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Well, no, at the time, Martin didn't know who you were because he's a younger guy.
Oh.
And I said, Dick
okay.
DeBartolo? Dick DeBartolo? The usual gang of idiots? Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine? I was so excited because I grew up. You formed my sense of humor. I grew up reading Mad Magazine. So now here we are. Mad has gone through some changes. Unfortunately, the evil corporation, I'm saying it, not Dick, the evil corporation that owns Mad Magazine shut down the Madison Avenue offices some years ago and moved it out to California, got rid of everybody. Everybody's freelance now, and they basically do a best of every month.
Exactly. They do new covers, as that cover is.
Yeah, I like the cover. That's cool.
But then what's in it?
Can I show this? Sometimes you send us these.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay.
It was released on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
I sometimes send it out ahead of time with a release date, but it was released on Tuesday.
Well, it's a very appropriate one this time because it says Mad takes apart technology. But we noticed on the back a very funny ad that comes probably from, what's the Atari era, right? So this would be April 1983. I think that's what it says on the back. And it's E.T.'s finger coming down and touching the cartridge, the Atari cartridge for that horrible E.T. game. And it's got a price tag on it from an eBay seller, $49,999.99. And E.T. says, ouch. But you know what, Dick? I'll give it to you for a mere $10,000.
Oh my goodness!
Only $10,000, kids. I can't say it's sealed in the box, never been used, but it is in the box, and it probably hasn't been used much since it was the world's worst game at the time. I think it also has the manual in it. Isn't this funny?
That is so
In
cool.
those days, they put manuals in the boxes.
Yes.
Not just a QR code.
Help E.T. get home. That was the whole premise. This was rushed because the movie was coming out at Christmas, and they wanted the game to come out at the same time.
Whoa,
oh, look.
I didn't realize the game came out at the same time. It wasn't an after the fact.
It was not ready, and it's famous. In fact, it was such a bad game, Atari yanked it and buried all the cartridges in Alamogordo, New Mexico.
Oh, I remember that.
It's a landfill game.
But one of them survives. Remember this? You blow on the cartridge before you put it in the machine.
Yes.
I remember doing that with the Nintendo 64 cartridges, and then I remember my uncle screaming at me from across the room, "Don't blow on the cartridge, you're getting moisture on it, you're going to ruin it." And so from that point forward, I never blew on a cartridge ever again.
We should make a list of technology voodoo. Blowing on a cartridge, shaking a Polaroid.
Yeah, shaking a Polaroid, yeah.
Things that people do to get things working that
Tapping
really
on
don't.
a microphone.
Tapping? That doesn't work. That's the wrong thing to do.
But you know what? I have to say, banging a printer sometimes works. It worked with the old printers.
Yeah. That's actually in the military manuals. They call it percussive maintenance.
I dig it.
Oh, really?
Bang, bang, bang. So, Dick, did you bring us a gadget, or did you just want to pop in?
I bought you a couple of gadgets.
Okay. I don't want to put you to work on this special day of all days, but if you want to, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So there is a show in Chicago opening next month called Inspired Home. It used to be the Houseware show. Now they made it the Inspired Home show, and it's has a lot big variety of gadgets. And fortunately, this particular show does a New York press preview. So, the guy I met there, I'll show you his picture later. He's very funny. So this guy makes gadgets for babies. And the one that, two of them I thought were very clever. One is called Rocket, the portable baby rocker.
I was going to say a portable baby rocket would be a bad idea.
No.
Unless you want to launch that baby to the moon.
You see people walking in the park or sitting on the park bench, and even if they're on the park bench, they have to keep rocking the carriage so the baby stays asleep. So this little gadget just clips onto the handle of the carriage and keeps rocking the carriage gently.
Like a vibration motor kind of thing?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then the second thing was, and there was another person at this show doing baby gadgets, and I didn't know that the sound shh actually helps babies be quiet.
Oh, it's not like blowing on a cartridge?
No, not at all. So the one guy came up with a little gadget called Whoosh, and it's like a baby white noise machine.
White noise, yeah.
A couple of the tracks are whoosh, shh. But then there's also water, and I believe one is a little,
little baby,
melody.
Don't say a word.
Maybe I want it for
exactly.
me.
Mama's gonna buy you.
I asked the guy. I said,
"Can
I?" He said, "Yeah, adults can use that."
Shh.
And Lee, if you go to my website, I'll show you the guys.
A lot.
I was gonna say, I get kind of angry if someone actually does that specific thing to me. So I don't know if that would work.
Maybe babies, but don't shush people.
Yeah, I don't like people shushing.
No, okay. Can you bring up my website? I just wanted to show you a photo.
Oh, if you insist.
We're heading there now.
Giz Wiz is Dickie D's website, and
visits the tech. Ask the tech guys.
Click the button. Giz Wiz visits the tech guys, and
we'll have to replay.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Coming around momentarily
with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte. That's us. We're famous. We're on the internet.
Oh my goodness!
Wow!
And what's the picture?
So that's Rocket. That's Whoosh.
Wait a minute. You don't put the baby in that?
No,
no. This clips onto the carriage handle
and goes shh.
And it keeps moving. It keeps moving the carriage like you were. Pushing
it moves it.
Yeah, that's the first one. Rocket rocks the baby.
I'm confused.
Whoosh is the second one.
And then here's Zed. You add Zed to the baby's bed.
Zed does a little movement of a baby mattress. It says not for adults.
Oh.
Okay. But
is it like a
funny thing
movement, or what's the deal there?
No, it just moves the mattress a little bit, so it makes a vibration.
The baby
like
lifts up the mattress
carriage.
and says, "Oh my goodness, there's a dead person under my mattress."
Sort of like
killed it.
The Princess and the Pea.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Abby was little, we would put her on the clothes dryer. She had a little baby thing. We put her on the clothes dryer because the motion and the sound, she liked it.
And then once her hair was dry, then you'd take her off.
Not in the clothes dryer. Do not recommend.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So there you go. Some nice little baby
So the funny thing is, just go back to my webpage.
Yeah.
And down further, down.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's like I'm scratching
you see
your
a picture
back.
of a man.
So I see a picture
of two guys.
Of a man. I see
of two guys.
Buzz.
Oh wait, it's not there.
Oh wait,
scroll up.
It's not
and
there.
And click on the one that says Buzz Pitkin.
Turns out Buzz Pitkin is a really big, mad Alfred E. Newman fan.
You saw the picture earlier, right?
I will show it on my screen because I can definitely see the photo. I think you might have a content blocker that's hiding or something.
Oh, Dick, I'm probably blocking.
Are you using that?
AirPlay 1.
I'm going to turn off enhanced tracking protection, and I'm going to turn on. I have way too many blockers on this.
Here you go.
Oh, he looks like Alfred. Is he?
Yes.
He did that.
The funny thing is, he showed me the gadgets. I didn't think anything about Alfred. I was then having lunch, and he came running over and said, "Someone at a booth told me you work for MAD." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I love MAD so much, I carry a blackout tooth with me at all times."
Oh, that's cute.
I said,
because he does kind of look like Alfred. He's a redhead.
He does.
Yeah.
And when he put the tooth in, I go, "My God, I didn't know why
That's
I didn't
hysterical.
realize this earlier.
He needs to pin his ears forward, though. It's other than
just
that.
a touch. Just
Other
a
than
touch.
that, he does.
But I thought
That's really cool.
I have met fans do weird things. I've never met a fan who
Blackout
carried an Alfred E. Newman blackout tooth.
That's awesome. GizWiz.biz is the website. By the way, don't forget the chance to play and win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine, playing the game. What the heck is it? Let's see what the heck.
And that's what you'll win.
Let's see. We're going to win this one. All right.
Yep.
Oh, I wanted to show you something real quickly. This was from our Discord. Apparently, The Simpsons loves Mad Magazine, too.
Oh, yes.
This was in
they
The
are
Simpsons.
big. Yes, yes.
It says 3rd, 4th, 5th floors for lease. 6th floor Mad Magazine. Gasp. Mad Magazine. That's Bart, I think. That's Bart's hand. I felt
Yes,
the same
it
way
is.
when we went, Abby and I, when she was little, you gave us a tour of the Madison Avenue offices. I felt
Well,
exactly the
on
same.
one episode of The Simpsons, they do a tour of Mad, and one of my favorite jokes is in that. Bart opens the door, and there's the big Mad logo, and Bart says, "Is this Mad Magazine?" And the woman at the desk goes, "No, it's Mademoiselle, and we're buying the letters."
We haven't
We're
bought
buying
all
the
the letters
letters
yet.
Yes.
On time.
We're buying the letters one at a time.
Mademoiselle. Play the what the heck is it contest. Let me see what the picture is.
I know what it
said-
is.
You know what it is?
It's a
heating coil
maze for ants.
This you put under the baby's
Oh,
mattress.
that's a
An ant maze. Okay. So now if you think you know what that is, you have to the end of the month to identify it, just a few more weeks, and get yourself in the drawing for 18 autographed copies of Mad Magazine. But I should tell you, there's 6 for the right answer, up to 12 for the wrong answer, the funny wrong answer. So come
funny
up with a
cutie
silly one.
ones.
Yeah. That's a heater for baby's mattress. You put it right under the
Yeah,
mattress.
like a heating coil. Yeah.
Yeah, a little heating coil.
Well, when the baby starts whistling, then you know the tea is ready.
This is a good one to play for, though. I would like
I
to.
agree. Yeah, this one looks.
I would like to. Boy, I would love to have an autographed copy of this magazine. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh wait,
I do.
check
Look at
that out.
And so do you.
Oh.
Dickie D, 17 years. May there be 17 more.
Amen.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great being with you guys.
So
I'll see you
nice
next
to
month.
Always
Thank
nice
you,
to
Dickie
see
D.
ya.
Always a
Okay,
pleasure.
bye.
Chris
Take care.
Marquardt is coming up in a little bit to do a photo review. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to show you, speaking of photos, some of the photos I got from my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I got it yesterday, and
Nice.
I immediately hiked out to the beach to take some pictures. I'm going to compare it to the Apple iPhone Pro Max, the 15 Pro Max. See which one we like better. But first, we're going to say hi to Kenny, who is on the line with his hand up in the air. Kenny, come on down.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Good.
Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Cottontown, Tennessee.
Oh, it's Cottontown, Kenny.
Yes. Oh, I guess you can see I'm wearing my UCLA Bruins gear.
Oh, are you a transplanted
That's
Los
right.
Angelino?
You remember I always talked about the Los Angeles
Yes.
sports teams, basically.
Yes. Cottontown has
Which
a very
reminds
good
me,
view of the
since-
planet. Look at that. That's great.
Yeah. I have a background in Palm Springs on my Mac, but I didn't think I was able to get set up at White Kings. They won against.
That's good. Do people in Cottontown think you're a little strange for all this LA love?
No, because we don't have a big population. So that's another key thing is we're very small in terms of population wise. I'm, like I said, I feel like a nomad in that sense.
It sounds really nice. I have to say, it sounds like a little bit of paradise on earth. Just the name alone sounds nice.
It does. I mean, it's got a lot of ties with the Civil War aspect of it. We're not too far from a lot of areas where the Civil War actually took place as well.
Oh, interesting. What can we do for you, Kenny?
Well, I had a couple of questions, but you actually mentioned in the opening about parallels. I was going to ask you about that in a little bit because I have a little situation where I'm thinking about debating reinstalling it in regards to the Microsoft Store, but I want to get to that second. The first thing I want to talk about is, you know that when I used to call, I had mentioned I was going back to college.
Yep.
And I still kind of am. I had to take a little bit of a break from taking programming classes because I've been kind of going in and out of different jobs for the last 5 months or so. I'm actually going to start a new one next week, and the tuition at the reimbursement is a little bit different than what I was used to. So I'm kind of debating on not pursuing a degree per se, but pursuing a certificate, like an IT certificate.
Probably more than adequate. Yeah. I mean,
that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, for getting a job in IT, absolutely. Aunt used to work in IT. Having that cert is really more important than having the bachelor's, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. If you're up against somebody with a BA in computer science and you've got an A+ cert, I think you're going to get the job, because that's really, feet on the ground
proof
experience.
Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. And look at me. I don't have a degree. I don't have a cert either, though. So I got nothing. I ended up in broadcasting. So be careful.
Let's get him an honorary cert.
Yeah. Trust me, I have a little bit of.
And it's hard. I understand. It's hard going back to school. It's expensive. You still have to make a living, and it's tough. I think the cert's not a bad idea. And I would mention our sponsors, ACI Learning, because IT Pro is, that's for those particular certs is great. And they promote, and I think it's correct, the cybersecurity certs, because there are literally hundreds of thousands of open, unfilled jobs in cybersecurity right now. These people are desperate. So having a cert, a cybersecurity cert in particular, they have a whole track. You can get their variety of cybersecurity certs, but they have a whole track for that. And it's fairly affordable, especially compared to going to a technical school like a Heald College or somewhere, where that could be tens of thousands of dollars. That could be more expensive than going to university. So, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, it's a good thing you just pointed that out. I did take a flyer for, I've been seeing radio ads for my computer career, but then I looked at the reviews and it's mostly a scam of some sort.
You gotta be really
that's
careful.
a nice way of saying it, so I kind of passed on that.
You got to be extra careful about that, I would say.
Yeah, but the good thing is my alma mater has a plan in place where I just basically can take all my credits and just transfer it back over there, and it's pretty affordable too. Perfect. So
good. Yeah, they have a program, so that's great. Yeah, I would do that. Absolutely. So what was your other question?
Yeah, going back to what you were saying about where you were installing Windows, and it brings back a lot of memories with me because I have Parallel. So it's funny seeing you going through all that process and everything. I am running across one little problem with my current install on Windows on Parallels is the Microsoft Store. And being able to use it to detect updates. Like every time I would say, where it says get updates up on the top right side, I click on it and it's showing me a caution sign with the exclamation point right at the middle every single time. Now, I did find a little workaround around it where if you click on the app, and as long as you have it set up where it takes apps updated automatically, it will generally update them, but I've noticed that it just won't do it like just automatically done.
Yeah, you want to do it all at once. And incidentally, Microsoft is moving more and more to the model of updating even with security updates through the store. So you really do want to get that store working. I think that's a Parallels problem specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I was asking, do you think it would be best to do a complete reinstall? Like
might try it. You might try it. Mine's working. And in fact, you saw I started from scratch here, but I had a little weirdness where it disappeared. But you see, I am in the store in the library. You click down here, and this shows you all the apps that you've installed. And one of the nice things about using this store is it knows, because I'm in my Windows account, it knows which apps I've installed in the past. So it's very easy to get updates for all of those, or install all of those from scratch if I haven't installed them yet. So it was very quick to get a new setup going again, because I already had all of these previously installed. So I'm not sure why that's happening. You've authenticated?
Yes, it's completely authenticated, but I understand that when you have to uninstall it, I think you have to kind of remove the license credentials and then try to reinstall with Parallels, because I had a little bit of an issue with Windows 10 on that. So
yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I'll see if I'm running into that, because as you saw, I had to do a full reinstall, and I haven't gone through. It looks like it knows who I am. It has my picture. So yeah, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Let's see if I run. Let's see if I'm authenticated. Because I didn't authenticate it by hand. Oh no, this is wrong. I'm getting another edge.
Oh, hey, that's the new Bing.
Oh, did I get the new Bing? Woohoo!
It looks like it, yeah. There you go.
They have limited what you can do with the new Bing because people were making Bing insane by peppering it with questions to the point where it either would say, I love you, or I hate you. Or the worst one, I will not harm you if you do not harm me.
Yeah.
Microsoft realized this was just Bing kind of losing its mind. We shouldn't use anthropomorphized.
Right.
Because it's not sentient, it's not thinking. It's an autocorrect, right? It's just somebody on the Wednesday on Twig called it spicy autocorrect. It's just blathering whatever it thinks should come next. And if you pester it long enough, you can get to blather bizarre stuff. So Microsoft has limited you to 6 questions on any topic, and then you have to start over. And so they've figured it out. Just don't let people bug it too long, and it will be less insane. Again, it's hard not to anthropomorphize.
It'll be less bizarre.
The software will not get kerfluggered.
There you go. Very technical.
So I'm not sure why you're having that issue. Make sure you've given it all the proper permissions so it can write to the drive and all of that stuff. Make sure you have enough room on the drive for it to write to the drive. That might also be an issue. You're authenticated. It knows it's you. You've logged into your Microsoft account, and it's accepted that. Those are all things that could get in the way, but I'm not sure why it's not quite working for you.
Well, I just didn't know if it was something that was a common Windows theme where
one never knows, does one? One never knows.
This is Windows we're talking about.
Yeah. I think that there are many common Windows problems that not everybody has. If that makes sense. No,
oh, yeah.
When you have 1 billion users, if 1/1000th of 1% has problems, that's hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yep.
And all it takes is 50 of them to post on Reddit, this doesn't work, and everybody's going to think it doesn't work. It's very easy when you get that giant user base to get the misapprehension that it's non-functional. I wish it were 100%, but it isn't. I haven't seen that problem. Maybe somebody in the chat room has, or Discord, or somebody will call and help us out. 5 replies. It limits you to 5 replies before it resets. Thank you, Scooter X. And thank you. It's great to talk to you. I'm really glad that you're going to continue your studies. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely try to. But before I let you go, I did call Rich DeMuro's show.
Oh, good.
Yesterday.
How did Rich do?
He did a good job.
Good.
He actually contacted me before you got to my question because apparently I didn't do a good job of wording it to Kim Schaffer as far as what it was about YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. It's been in the news because of NFL Sunday Ticket, losing MLB Network, upgrading Apple TV, all these things. Yeah. And he gave me some pretty good advice. Like one of the things he recommended was to either try to install it like through the Ethernet cable, which is a little bit hard because the modem is not nearby where I could use it, or just uninstall the app and reinstall it. And I'm doing it right now. And so far, it's not buffering, because that's my biggest concern is the buffering and the bandwidth, especially them getting NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah.
And
I've not had any problem. In fact, I still have cable. I haven't cut the cord yet. And we have so much problems with our cable that I watch the Super Bowl on YouTube TV without any glitching or anything like that. So I've been very happy with it. But it's going to depend on your bandwidth. Right now, we've got a great picture. It's very steady. We haven't had any problems. So your bandwidth at this time of day is great, but that can vary also depending on everybody else in Cottontown. So it just really depends, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of people watching the NBA All-Star Game, or even I'm watching the Daytona 500.
It's right now. So get this, understand this. It's not YouTube. It's not who's watching it. It's not the YouTube servers. It's in your neighborhood, and it doesn't have to be them watching YouTube. They could be watching Netflix. Are you on a cable modem?
No, I'm on. Well, technically, service provides cable, but we're not on a cable.
So
modem,
is it through your phone company, your internet?
It's an electric company.
The electric company.
Interesting.
They just opened up some service a couple of years ago, and they came to our area.
Are you
last
near
fall.
Chattanooga?
No.
Okay, because Chattanooga's got broadband over power line, which is a really cool thing to do, and has been very controversial.
Yes, I've heard about that.
So I wonder if you're getting broadband over power line. How does it come into your house?
Well, it comes to our house the way it would like a phone wire, basically.
Okay,
but it's just,
so it's DSL.
Again, they're providing it.
Okay, so it's DSL through the power company. Okay.
You can kind of say it that way.
Yeah, well, I think it must be if it's through the phone line. So, yeah, I mean, that's just going to depend. DSL then depends on the electric company. At the central office, how many people are using it there. The difference between cable and DSL is the cable is how many people are using it at the head end, which is usually in your neighborhood. Cottontown is probably not too busy. It really is going to come down to whether the power company bought enough bandwidth from their provider to provide everybody in your area who's using their service enough bandwidth to watch YouTube TV. It'll get better. It's one of the things I've noticed is that it really has gotten better all over the country. Broadband speeds are going up. The FCC is pushing. I think things are getting better. So, yeah, I think you'll be good. You'll be good to go by September or August for the preseason. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it because we want to see our Green Bay Packers. You want to see the is it the Chargers or the Rams? Who are
Rams or Chargers, either one.
Either one, you don't care.
LA.
Okay, LA's got a embarrassment of riches. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Stay in touch. All right, and good luck with your studies. You too. Take care. We're going to go to Chris Marquardt and talk about photos in just a bit. Before we do, though, since he asked about getting that cert, I think it'd be a good time to talk about our sponsor.
Perfect timing.
ACI Learning. You see their banners in the studio. They sponsor our studio. We're coming to you from the Twit East Side Studios, brought to you by ACI Learning. For the last decade, you've heard us talk about IT Pro, right? We're big fans of IT Pro and the founders. Well, IT Pro is now part of ACI Learning. They've partnered, and that has really increased their capabilities and the services they can bring to you. With IT Pro, ACI Learning is expanding its reach, expanding its production capabilities, giving you the content and the style of learning you need at any stage of your development. IT Pro, of course, is online, but ACI Learning has hubs, too, where you can go and get in-person instruction from instructors with other students. Some people like to learn that way. They also have Audit Pro, which is great if you want to get in the audit business. That's a growing area of IT. Practice labs, which allow you to try all this stuff before you actually use it. Now, we mentioned certs, one of the most popular certs, the CompTIA A+. That's the one I mentioned. IT Pro has great CompTIA courses. ACI Learning makes it easy to go from daydreaming about that career in IT to launching it. Earning certificates is the key to opening doors to most entry-level IT positions, but it's also important to improve your lot as an IT person, to get a better job or to get a promotion at your job, or just to show the boss you're really keeping up with a very fast-moving area. Tech is one industry where opportunities are outpacing growth right now. This is another good piece of news, especially cybersecurity, as I mentioned. LinkedIn just did a study that predicts IT jobs will be the most in-demand roles this year. About 1/3 of information security jobs need a cybersecurity cert. 23% of all IT jobs want a cert. And I would say almost all the entry-level jobs want a cert. Organizations are hungry for IT talent. The cyber skills gap is growing bigger every day. Get this. Kenny will be happy to hear this. The average salary for cybersecurity specialists, what do you think? $116,000. ACI Learning's information security analyst and cybersecurity specialist programs can help get you certified. That just shows you how in demand those roles are. That is a six-figure salary. That's the average. That's the average. In 2022, the global cybersecurity workforce gap increased by 26.2% compared to 2021. That's a big growth. And as I said, I think there's hundreds of thousands of open jobs right now. Maybe even over 1 million. I think the last time I looked, it was 1.4 million cybersecurity openings. Openings, unfilled openings. Your chance of getting one of those great paying jobs is very good if you demonstrate you got the skills by getting that cert. ACI Learning offers multiple cybersecurity training programs that can prepare you to enter or advance this in this industry. I couldn't remember, so I'm glad I have this in front of me for Kenny. The most popular cybersecurity certifications: CISSP. The one I always wanted was EC Council's Certified Ethical Hacker. I would love to have that. Leo Laporte, CEH. What's the CEH? I'm a certified ethical hacker. That would scare people.
That sounds cool, though, right?
It does. Certified Network Defender, Cybersecurity Audit School. This is, like I said, an increasingly important part of the job is to verify for stakeholders, for customers, for partners that you are secure, right? Everybody wants to know that now. Those audits are really important. Cybersecurity frameworks, knowing those, very helpful. Where and how you learn matters. ACI Learning offers fully customizable training, no matter what kind of learner you are. As I mentioned, in person, on demand, remote. You take your learning beyond the classroom. For somebody like Kenny, who's got a job, sometimes it's better to have that on-demand learning that you can use whenever you've got a free moment. You know, the courses are short, about 30 minutes per episode. They've got full transcripts. They also have all sorts of other things. I mentioned IT Pro. There's Auto Pro that includes enterprise solutions, webinars, and a great podcast, the Skeptical Auditor podcast. Must listen. Practice labs, learning hubs, their partnership programs. Let me just reiterate. Tech is one industry where opportunities outpace growth, especially in that cybersecurity arena. 1/3 of information security jobs require a cybersecurity cert. Get the cybersecurity cert. That's how you get the job. And if you're already in the job, maintain your competitive edge in audit, IT, and cybersecurity at go.acilearning.com/twit. Go.acilearning.com/twit. It's nice now because it's all under one heading. You can take your pick. There's some great stuff. And we still have that great offer code, TWIT30, TWIT30 for 30% off either a standard or premium individual IT Pro membership. That's a great deal. Go.acilearning.com/twit. Don't forget the offer code TWIT30. I wanted to put in a big plug for them, especially after talking to Kenny. So many people want to improve their lot in life. And here's a chance to get a really good job. And you want to know about job security? If you're the person who set up the network, if you're the person who knows how the network is secured, you're safe for life. You're safe for life. Hey, guess who's here? Old friend. A new assignment, I think, from Chris Marquardt, photo guy at chrismarquardt.com and discoverthetopfloor.com. Chris, it's great to see you.
It's good to be back. How's everyone doing?
We're doing great. Are you getting ready for your Eastern Europe jaunts?
The Eastern Europe electric road trip. Yep. It's almost sold out. Second tour is full. First tour has 1.5 spots open. So
wait a minute, what is that? Is it the half ride in the frunk? I mean, where?
Well, no, not quite. It's one person who's not. Is a bit on the fence. So we're still.
Oh, good. He might lose his space. Don't be on the fence if you want to go traveling around Eastern Europe with Mr. Marquardt, taking pictures. Chris is a great photographer. We've talked to him for years. I've known him since I started podcasting. We met at the Podcast Expo many years ago.
Since 2006.
Nice. And we have been working on an assignment, haven't we?
Yes. Well, we have the assignment, the gentle assignment to look at. So I brought some photos. Here they are. Thanks, everyone, for participating. Great stuff.
Did we get a drop-off on participation because we've moved the tech guy? Do you think that
we're 17 participants?
Oh, that's pretty
good. But all right, anywhere between 15 and 30 is good. So I think we're still doing okay. Good. So I have, as usual, taken some time and looked at them and made a choice. And I've picked 3, and the first one is by Michael Hennigan. It's a blue heron in flight. And if you've ever tried to shoot a picture of a bird in flight, that is difficult. That is really
You know what's cool? It looks like he panned the camera as he was shooting the bird.
That's what you do. And of course, the camera has to follow the focus because that changes while you pan. And then you have to shoot a long burst to make sure you maximize your chances for catching the shot. And Michael did a good job. A gentle bird, I guess. I've never seen a heron. Well, I have seen herons, but I've never seen one flying. So
that is beautiful. They have a huge wingspan.
First of
Gorgeous.
the 3 photos.
Yay.
Second in the gentle assignment is by Demi Lente. It's almost plain white, but then if you look very closely, what you see is that roll of toilet paper off a white wall.
Oh, it's Charmin.
There you go.
So gentle.
Do they have Charmin in Germany? Probably not.
I think we do.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we do.
Okay.
It looks very gentle and soft.
It's soft.
I like this kind of a photo because it's a minimalist photo. It takes you a while to figure out what it is, and then it reveals itself, and you go, oh yeah.
It's aesthetically so interesting because there's only one thing in the photo, right?
Well, not just that, but it's tone in tone, and it's to the side, so there's a lot of space, which, by the way, would lend itself wonderfully to make it into, let's say, a motivational poster. Right? Space for copy. So
I don't want to know what it would say, but okay, yeah. So so I'm thinking, I often do this with your pics. If I saw that centered, would it be as good a photo? And I don't think it would be, would it? That might be your tendency to center the subject.
It completely depends on what you want to use the photo for, but in this case, that was my first thought. Is like it needs a motivational part somewhere. So maybe we'll leave that to the audience as a bit of a caption contest here. Last but not least, third picture by Gregory Chesney.
Wow!
And it is. This stood out because what we're seeing here is a hand holding, I guess it's prayer beads of some sort, a gentle hand, of course. The backlight giving it this halo of bright, but the fibers, the hand itself, even the hair on the hands. So the backlight just gives it this very, very gentle feeling. I love it. I'm a great fan of this. So,
and this is an example of how black and white can be either harsh or in this case, gentle, right? Black and white doesn't necessarily go one way or the other. It's a very soft, kind of a soft monochrome.
And of course, the content of the picture itself has gentleness written all over it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So there we go.
Thank
3
you
pictures.
Michael and Demi. And who was that last one?
Gregory Chesney.
Gregory. Michael, Demi, and Gregory. Nice job.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Nice job.
And guess what?
What?
I brought the
time for the fishbowl. Go to the fishbowl.
The fishbowl. I'm not afraid to use it. Give me a second. Here we are. Here is is it one? Yes, it's one. Here we go.
So we've loaded the fish. Chris has loaded the fishbowl with a bunch of words. Our next assignment is...
this one. The next assignment is... can you read it? No, you can't. Crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
We'll get Dick DeBartolo on this one. So how does this work? So what we're asking, it's an assignment to go out, and really the whole point of this is not to win prizes, acclaim, fame, or fortune. All you're going to get is the pleasure of going out and taking a lot of pictures. But now you're going out with a purpose to find crazy. You can submit up to 1 picture a week for the next 4 weeks. We'll do this for about a month. Chris will be back in a month. And the way you submit them is you upload them to Flickr, flickr.com. That's a free photo sharing site. We have a Tech Guy group on Flickr. You'll have to join that group if you're not already a member. You'll know you're in the right place because it's got a big picture of me. But also, we're so close now to 14,000 members. All we need is 34 more members. It will be 14,000, 7,600 photos. Renee Silverman, our wonderful moderator, she's a pro photographer herself. Renee Silverman will welcome you in. And if you've got a picture, tag it TG for Tech Guy, Crazy. TG Crazy. And upload it. Again, 1 per week. Renee will say, I got it, thank you, and put it in the pool. And in 4 weeks, Mr. Marquardt will find 3 that he particularly likes and we can talk about on the air. We'll put links in the show notes, in our chat, and in the Discord to all of the images. And thank you to our photographers. That was not the only picture of a toilet paper roll. Actually, there were other.
There's a second one in there.
Yeah, there's another one. It's kind of interesting. People are great. I thank you all for your pictures. It really a lot of fun. And I love it that you participated. Thank you, and keep participating. And if you're in the Tech Guy group, leave comments and thoughts for your fellow photographers, because this is kind of part of the fun, is sharing your work with other people. In just a little bit, I'm going to share some of my works, because I got a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I've been taking some pictures with it yesterday, and I'm going to show you what it can do. It can do some pretty amazing things, including 200x zoom. Oof. Chris Marquardt is at chrismarquardt.com, but if you're interested in the stuff, the trips, discoverthetopfloor.com. And of course, he hosts the longest-running photography podcast in the world, Tips from the Top Floor, at tfttf.com. He has other podcasts too, some great ones, including the future of photography. Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. Looking forward to coming back in a month.
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Tschüss.
Take care. Bye.
All right. I don't know what that means. Sometimes I say things.
Tschüss.
Tschüss. Yeah. Is that?
I think that. Wait, doesn't that mean like thanks?
It means something. I don't know. I shouldn't probably make up words.
It's definitely German.
Okay.
I remember learning it at one point.
Yeah. Do you speak German?
It's not in my head anymore.
I'm going to put you in charge of Chris from now on. We have some video questions, right? You want to try one, Mr. Ashley? Yeah. Let's give it a shot.
Hello, Leo and Micah. I have a question.
It's the barn talking to us.
And I work out of my barn.
It's a talking
and in
barn.
my barn, I have Spectrum Internet and an Asus router, Asus Wi-Fi. There's my house. In my house, I have AT&T Uverse and the Google Mesh Wi-Fi. I have them different because I have 6 kids. And I don't want them anywhere near my internet. And by the way, AT&T Uverse is better. My question is, well, the other day I was digging a hole and I cut my internet to the house.
Oh no!
It comes in all the way over there, from all the way over there on that pole. While I was out, I was wondering, why can I not just crisscross the internets when I knock one out by accident? And one of them's usually out most of the time, being the barn, for some odd reason. So how can I get internet from the house in the barn when the barn internet's out, and internet from the barn in the house when the barn internet's out? And I do not want to dig and put a wire in the ground, because who knows what else I'll hit once I do that. So anyway, that is my question. Thank you for your time.
What I love the illustrations. We never saw him.
Yeah.
We saw the barn, we saw the house, we saw the bulldozer that cut the cable on the way to the barn. We didn't see the 6 kids either, but I have a vivid image of them. So thank you. That's the way a video question should be. Ask the tech guys at twit.tv. So really what you want is redundancy, right?
Yes,
redundant
that's what it
providers.
sounds
He has 2 providers, and he wants, if one fails in one location, to get it into the other location. That's fairly simple. There are a number of routers that will do bonding or do redundancy. I have a Ubiquiti, which I love, by the way, Ubiquiti Dream Machine. It has failover, so you can provide, it has 2 WAN, actually I think mine has 4 WAN outlets. So you could have up to 4 different providers and it would fail over from one to the other. That's a little different than, I use the word bonding. That's not technically bonding, that's just failing over. Bonding would be taking, and you can, some routers will do this, taking bandwidth from both providers and merging it together to improve your speed. I would look for one that does failover, a router that does failover. But the issue that makes it much, much more complicated is you don't want to run a wire.
Exactly.
If you're going to run a wire, you can put the Ubiquiti in both places, connect the wire to them, and then one drops out, the other one will be connected. But I understand, because the cable, if he keeps bulldozing, it's going to be a problem. So what you need, and actually I am not sure if there are routers that will do failover over Wi-Fi. And that's the tricky thing. I presume you have you do have a wire to the barn and a wire to the house, and those routers are connected to those.
So here,
you want Wi-Fi to go from the one that's working to the one that's not working.
I wanted to double check before I said it. because Eero recently added an internet backup option.
Oh.
And I have it set up right now where this iPhone that has a cellular connection serves as the internet backup if the internet in my home were to go out. I wanted to make sure that it would work with just a Wi-Fi router. It absolutely does. So internet backup is a fairly new feature that they've added. And what's great is you can choose which devices actually get access to it. So if you don't want your, IoT devices necessarily to connect to the internet when the internet that they're supposed to be using is out. But actually on the phone, and let me actually airplay my screen just so folks can see what this looks like. They give you the ability to add multiple backup networks if you'd like. As I mentioned, I currently have it turned on for specifically this iPhone that I'm using, but I can easily tap add a backup network and then choose any Wi-Fi network that I see. And so it searches for those nearby networks. I can select the one that I want and then add it as an option here. And then it's got tests so you can make sure that the actual backup option will work. You can, again, choose which devices will actually connect to it. So, Eero is at least one that does this. A lot of them have more in-depth and much more kind of feature-rich options, especially if you're going Leo's way. But I did want to mention this sort of simplistic method as it is a new feature from Eero.
Yeah, I'm looking at a TP-Link router. There are a number of routers that offer this kind of failover. This is a very inexpensive rack mount load balancing router, but you see in the description it talks about auto failover as well, and you see multiple WAN ports on there. So that's not an expensive thing. The problem is doing this over Wi-Fi. There are many routers that do it over cellular. That's not uncommon at all. In fact, that's another option I was considering at home. Mm-hmm. We have Comcast gigabit internet, but it goes out once in a while. And Lisa says, "Can you make this? Can this be redundant?" And the choice I would probably do, actually more likelihood was either T-Mobile or Verizon with their new 5G residential service, fairly inexpensive if you're a customer, around $25 to $30, and that can be set up to fail over with any variety of the TP-Links would work and stuff because it's wired. The real trick is that you got it in two different places, and failover over Wi-Fi is, I just don't know.
Especially with that barn that looks like it has metal siding on it. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Someone has pointed out, we have actually had someone call in before and talk about how they wanted to have the point-to-point set up between two areas in there. They had a lot of property. They had, I think it was a barn and it was a home. And so they ended up finding point-to-point antenna that would work. So those are specifically built to do exactly what you're talking about here. But you'd probably have to have four then, huh? Because you'd have the sender going that way and the receiver, and then the sender going that way and receiving on the house. So that could get a little pricey after a while.
I think I'm looking at failover or load balancing routers, and this is at software testing help for Wi-Fi load balancing. If it does Wi-Fi load balancing, it might do Wi-Fi failover as well, because it's kind of the same thing. This is an interesting question. I haven't really thought about this. Bury the cable deeper, says Duckman. Honestly, if I were going to set this up, I might get a third provider. I might get Verizon or T-Mobile. You look like you're in a more rural area, but if you have 5G from either of those and you have an account with either of those, it would be a trivial thing to have it, plug it into one, and then if the barn goes out,
walk it over.
Just walk.
Yep.
It's so easy to unplug it. It's only about that big. Walk it over, plug it into the barn. What you want is a Wi-Fi router, a router with Wi-Fi failover. And I'm just not sure. I'm looking at the Synology. That's an interesting issue, Wi-Fi failover. Don't know off the top of our heads, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. If somehow you are currently able to stand in your barn and get Wi-Fi signal from your house, then Eero would work in this situation, because as I've just shown, you can connect a Wi-Fi network as a backup to it and use it as a backup system. But given the fact that you've got that, what looks like metal siding on the barn, this is why we are very encouraging of the wires as an option. Or, as you've mentioned, just walking between those two places with that little puck.
I will show you a website that you might find some answers on that I've often mentioned on the show, and that's Radiolabs at radiolabs.com. They are kind of the kings of long-distance Wi-Fi. So would be another option. You know that one of the two is going to have internet access. So you provide at both ends a longer distance antenna. It's going to be directional, aiming out from both the barn and the house to the other location. And then you'd have to have a switch or something that you flip over. Mm-hmm. But I think it'd be possible to set it up that way as well. Radiolabs is just full of crazy, wonderful information about all of this. Bridging and point-to-point and high-power Wi-Fi cards and so forth. So I think that might be the place to go. And I think you might even be able to call them. They have pretty good support as far as I know. And pose them this question and say, I want to have Wi-Fi failover. That's the key. You're looking for Wi-Fi failover. I see a guy driving in his car.
Yes.
And it's making me very, very nervous. You haven't raised your hand, Eric. Would you like to be on the show, or are you just driving and watching? No. He's just driving along, listen to the show. I love that. Just keep your eye on the road. That's okay. That's okay. Should we go to Board Chair Extraordinaire?
Board Chair.
I got to find out who that is. He's also first in the list. He's been around the longest. Let me send you to the breakout room. Board Chair Extraordinaire. Did it go over? Did it work? Can you see?
Yeah.
It did.
Board we just chair. Have them, the person is currently muted and their video is off.
I don't mind that. We don't need video, as you can tell, but we do like to hear you because it's hard to talk to you.
Indeed.
If we can't hear you.
Oh, they left.
They left. All right. Maybe Board Chair Extraordinaire wasn't in the cards. How about Mark? I'm going to go to you next, Mark. You got your hand raised. Mark is sitting in front of, don't tell me, it looks like, is it Toronto?
No, Sydney, Australia.
Oh, is
yes.
that the bridge, the Sydney Bridge?
It is.
It's
the Harbour Bridge and the Centrepoint Tower in the heart of Sydney as well.
So that tower looks a lot like the CN Tower in Toronto, and that's what fooled me, but I should have seen the bridge. Lisa and I tried to walk over that bridge when we were in Sydney a few years ago. You can actually climb up and over it.
Oh, wow.
Which is so cool.
Oh, yes.
They make you
It is an amazing experience.
Have you done it?
I have.
I'm so jealous.
What stopped you? Was there a kangaroo in the way?
We had a 13-year-old with us, and he was like 1 week shy of his birthday that would have allowed him to go up on the bridge with us. You have to put on special jumpers, special overalls, and leave your phone and all your electronics behind because they don't want you dropping it off the bridge. It sounded a little scary. You're going up over the top.
A little scary.
Yeah, but that just gives me a reason to go back to Sydney. Well, it's great to hear from you all the way from Sydney.
Perfect harnesses to keep you safe. Yeah, it's good to be calling in. And I mean, I'm actually planning to come from Sydney to your side of the world, and that's what I'm wanting to ask about. I'm going to be in the States for about 6 weeks, best part of anyway, heading all over the countryside, kicking it off in San Francisco and winding up in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And I'm trying to look at phone providers for my mobile because trying to use my home provider is just going to be so expensive.
Are you Telstra?
No, I'm with a company called Vodafone.
Okay. Vodafone is pretty good. They're an international carrier, so they might, I would inquire anyway, what they've got. That's always the first thing to do is, well, what does your international plan look like?
Yeah, I've had a look at them, and you can pay like $5 a day for international roaming, so that's not going to really be too cost economical.
Yeah.
That's where I've been actually looking at station sponsor Mint Mobile. So
that's
it's got my attention.
Isn't it? Yeah. The problem with Mint is you're
way cheaper than that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the shortest term you can subscribe to. Can you do month to month with Mint? I'll have to look into that. I bought a year.
The shortest one the shortest one I saw with them is 3 months.
Yeah, that sounds
I think
right.
it's still going to be cheaper.
How long are you going to be
what
here?
I've got now.
6 weeks.
About 2 months.
2 months. So 60 days times $5 is $300. Yeah, that's going to be a lot cheaper. We're talking $15 a month for 3 months. I see no reason not to do that. You can get a SIM from them. You'd have to take the SIM out of your existing phone and put in their SIM. Here's the downside. You're going to lose your Australian phone number. You're going to have a U.S. phone number.
Who uses SIMs these days, though? eSIM's the way to go these days, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and Mint Mobile supports eSIMs. So if you have a phone with eSIMs?
Absolutely. Latest iPhone.
Very modern.
You use iPhone? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that actually is the easiest way to go. And I think you can actually have 2 eSIMs installed. So you can keep your Vodafone SIM from Australia and install the Mint Mobile SIM. They do eSIMs. They'll just send you a code, and you put that in. And I think at that point, on the iPhone, you say where the phone calls go and where the data comes from. You want to keep the phone calls on your Australian number and have the data supported by the Mint Mobile SIM. I think that sounds great. Yeah. Totally doable.
Is there any other providers I should look at? Or is,
and I'm not saying this because they're our sponsor, but Mint's the cheapest I've ever seen. There are other, they're what's called an MVNO, so they're on T-Mobile. You want to make sure T-Mobile has coverage everywhere you're going. There are other companies like Ting, which is also T-Mobile, but they're a little more expensive. Republic Wireless, they're a little bit more. Everybody I've looked at is a little bit more expensive.
The only one that I will bring up, because they do this with exactly what you're talking about in mind. This company, it's called Gig Sky, and what they're for is when you take little jaunts to other places and you just want to get service during that time. They've been eSIM first for the longest, so it's just another option for you to check out. They've got different plans and different costs depending on where you're going, and it's all eSIM, all right there in the app. And I've actually recommended them to a couple of friends who were going to Australia, of all places, and had a great time using Gig Sky because there isn't as much kind of before you go setup. You just get the package that you want and you move along. So that's one worth checking out as well as Gig Sky.
Yeah. That's kind of, that used to be, in fact, I had a little orange puck from a company I would not recommend, but that there were these guys that would do this, that would give you kind of global roaming, and you could turn it on or off, which was kind of nice. And maybe Gig Sky is kind of designed,
I think it's a lot like that,
for travelers and do that. I think that's, in many ways, that would be the way to go, especially if you plan other trips outside the country in the future.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like my one big trip for quite some time. So
yeah.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
You Aussies love your walkabouts. I know that's a Kiwi thing, but I've noticed that when we get, a lot of times when we get Aussies visiting, they're here for months. They like to do a big, long trip. I guess it's such a long flight. Might as well if you can.
Yeah, exactly that. And taking in all the Disneylands and Vegas, Niagara Falls, like all the fun parts.
Oh, you're doing the trip. Is this your first time in the States?
I came over when I was much younger, but with the way technology is now, I feel like I've got a Canon Canon M50, I think it is. I forget the exact one off the top of my head. So I feel like I'm going to be able to get much better photos and things like that than what I did back in the 90s. So
yeah, I guarantee you. Yeah. Actually, film ain't bad though. I mean, that's probably what you used in the 90s. Hey, Mark, have a wonderful trip. Yeah. We're so glad. And if you're in the Petaluma area, knock on the door. We'll give you. We don't tell anybody this, but we'll give you a quick tour.
Oh, thank you. I'll try and drop by.
I just heard a squeak from the.
Multiple people went.
Only if I'm here. I'll give you a tour if I'm here and I'm not on the air. All right, Mark. Just email me ahead.
There's a collective sigh.
Will do.
All right, Mark. Good day, mate. Yep. And don't forget, Krusty loves you. He has a Krusty shirt on.
Yeah, for the listeners, he's wearing a Krusty shirt.
Otherwise, people are going, what the hell is he talking about? Take care, Mark.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Will do.
Let me show you, actually. I've been talking about this. I've been pumping this up for a while. Let me show you some of the images that came out of this. This is, I can't give you a full review because I just got it. But I will say initial impressions, couple of initial impressions. One, this is the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I was able to get it through Google Fi for $600, which is about half the list price. You have to activate it through Fi. But if you're a Fi customer, That's actually a pretty good
Wow,
deal
that's a
for
really
a
good
top-of-the-line flagship phone. The screen is, and I think everybody would agree, that Samsungs they have the best screens on the market. They make them. And this is an incredible OLED screen with 120 hertz refresh. You can turn that off for better battery life, but I don't think you're going to need to, because the battery life on this has been astounding. Really fantastic. But the biggest thing everybody these days talks about when you're buying a smartphone is the camera, right? This is Samsung's only slight upgrade from their S22 Ultra, which I also had. But the one big change is they now have a 200x zoom. I've used the 100x zoom on this. It's digital past, I think, 30x. So don't go crazy on it. But you do have, these 3 lenses that give you, and also the front-facing lens that give you really good shots. Let me show you some of the pictures I took. We went out to the beach yesterday, and I said, Lisa, we got to go to the beach because I got to take some pictures. One of the things Samsungs do.
We were in Bodega Bay yesterday.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we missed you.
We missed you.
One of the things Sammys do, I've noticed, is pop the colors a little bit. So the blues are a little bluer. There's what I thought was a classic Woody, and in fact is not a classic Woody. He's got a VTEC engine in it. It's a 1930s cowl, but the guy was a woodworker and did his own wood on the side. So that's a kind of handmade Woody. Beautiful, beautiful vehicle. Whales were running. Maybe that's why you were out in Bodega Bay. So the whale watchers were out. These were tough shots because these were backlit with the sun. And so it made it very difficult. Now, some of these are quite zoomed. This is, I think, the 10X.
Those look
zoom.
good.
And I have to say,
texture.
The images are quite good with the zoom. You can sneak up on people and get get pictures of them without them even knowing. Same thing with birds. Boy, it doesn't show. I'm looking at the image info. It shows me the f-stops and the shutter speed, but it doesn't show me what lens. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure these are widely zoomed.
Oh, that's
this
cool
is Lisa
photo.
Perching. She does this to me, makes me crazy.
That is a little scary.
She is. I get so scared. She's such a daredevil, but you know what? She loves it, and she does great. This is the portrait mode. And you see it's blurred the background, but it does a nice job, I think, with the portrait.
I was going to say, because I would see a lot of times those smartphones would blur some of those rocks there in the foreground, and the fact that it's not.
No, it's smart enough to know what the focal plane is and get it right. It has a very wide angle, and then it has a telephoto, as I mentioned. I want to show you kind of a trick shot I took. It was a beautiful day, you're right. This, in the distance... You can see some people. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I think, it's coming up. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I keep taking pictures of Lisa. I apologize. I'm a little smitten.
Whoa.
That's an example of a zoom. All right. So this is the boat we're taking a picture of. And this is, I believe, 100x zoom. And you see it's an it's not optical. It's digital zoom. And so it's a little soft. But it's handy if you're trying to, it's like binoculars.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
If you're trying to get a distance shot, it can be very handy. So let me see here if I can. I'm sorry, I didn't edit these, and I should have.
Ooh, that one's cool.
Yeah, it really was a pretty day. So Lisa asked, and you couldn't see this, but out here is that a boat? Is that an island? So I said, let's see, and I think it's an island. That is a 100x zoom. Again, there's times when you want that. I noticed a family, you probably can't see them here, down on the cliff. So I thought, well, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. No, zoom in a little bit more. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. There they are, and they're right there. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's zoom in a little. Wait a minute. Let's zoom in a little bit more.
Okay,
wait a minute.
Really
wait a minute.
Incredible.
Wait a minute. Is this guy taking my picture? Hey, knock it off. So it's pretty. Now let me go back and show you because
that's incredible,
that is quite a bit of zoom. We're going. That's them right there. And so I think this might be the wide angle. I wish it had told me. I didn't realize it was going to tell me which lens I was using. But as you zoom in, This is probably the best. That's
the
probably the 30X.
detail on that one still.
That's probably the 30X, which means we're still optical. You can see when it goes away from optical, it's going to get a little softened. But still, the fact that I could see that
make
guy
out faces,
about 300 yards away. We saw a plane fly by. We didn't know what that was. So one of the features of Android that I like a lot is something called Google Lens. I took that picture and I fed it to Google Lens, and it told me, oh, yeah, that's a military aircraft. That's a Constellation transportation aircraft. It identified that. Wow. That was a plane way up in the sky. This is an example of its low light performance. This was inside these trees, very, very, very dark, sunny day, brightly lit outside. When I go into the trees, you can't even tell that that's going to be dark in there. That is lots of detail coming through on that. So this does very well in low light, as one would expect. Is that a person in the tree? It looks like that might be a
grandmother willow.
Grandmother willow in that tree. So some beautiful shots. Let me see. I have some. Oh, I thought this was cute. A father and daughter holding hands. Again, that's one where I saw it in the distance, about that far away, and I said, let me see if I can get a better shot of them if I zoom in just a little bit. Let me see if I can find some that I took with the iPhone as well. Okay, same shot. That's the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and that's the Samsung. Side by side, I think even side by side, it's hard to tell the difference.
The blues are richer on the Samsung. I often
they
notice
pop the blues, and you see that. I was mentioning that they tend to pop the blues and greens, which may be more satisfying, but as our photographer Aunt Pruitt will tell us, is not natural.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to pop those, both cameras will shoot RAW. So if you wanted to pop that, you could later in post. Samsung has a very nice feature called Best Shot, where you could see I wasn't using this in the iPhone, so the horizon is tilted a little bit. The Samsung Best Shot helps you get a untilted horizon, and I trust my eye for composition a little bit better than the Samsung, but it is helpful. Especially if you're not sure.
Yeah.
Especially when you're taking a quick shot quickly. Here's the Best Shot, and it's an easy thing to do. So that's the iPhone as well. Yeah, the blue. Yeah, that's really where you can see it in the blue of the sea here. It's not quite as blue, but probably more accurate.
More accurate to what you're seeing, yeah.
And I think that's one of the complaints people have about Sammys, is that they tend to pop the picture.
I like that one.
I think the sand is quite beautiful there.
It makes it look massive, yeah.
Yeah. This is the ultra wide that they have, so you're getting a little bit of distortion and curvature on that. And there's also a food filter, which does an interesting thing. It kind of does like a tilt
shift-ish.
Yeah. So with the food filter turned on, you say, "What do you want to focus on?" And I said, "Well, I want to focus on that calamari." Actually, this is deep fried cauliflower. I want to focus on that cauliflower wings right there. And so you see, even in the foreground, it's out of focus, as in the background. So this is this very tight area of focus, but it also heightens, I think, the colors. I think that's an Instagrammable food shot, thanks to it. So there you have it. A couple of shots using. There's quite a few. If you look at the camera, I'll show you here real quickly. There's quite a few options. Let's see if you can see that. There you go.
Whoa.
So normally you'll be shooting here in photo. It has you slide over for portrait, slide over for video. Of course, it has a variety of settings and so forth. 24 frame, 60 frame. But then it's got expert RAW, pro video, night, food, panorama, super slow-mo, hyperlapse, that's time lapse, portrait video, which is kind of a cool idea. Director's view. Director's view sounds great. Let me show you what director's view does. It puts you in the picture.
Oh.
Hi, I'm the director, and this is my shot.
Oh, and you get multiple views of the lenses, too.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes. So actually, that's kind of cool, isn't it? You can see the zoom, the medium, and the wide, and you're going to see yourself in there, and you can move yourself around and so forth. I don't know of any directors that would...
Is it shooting them whenever you start recording? Like which lenses end up getting
Oh, that's a good question. If I just record now, I guess I'll get all three.
Yeah, is it going to get all three of those files?
I think it's recording all three. I don't know. Let me switch back and forth and see what we got. I think you probably have to. I'm switching within the video. Let's see what we're going to see if I play it back. Yeah, I think probably. I don't know how you would. Maybe if you used a special editing program, it could tell you. I don't know. That's a good question. Like I said, I only got this. Yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to work out with all the stuff. I am very impressed, camera wise. This is enough, and Ant and I have talked about this. How long before you don't have to bring your pro gear out in the world when you go travel and so forth? I think we're pretty darn close now to a pocket device. It's a great phone. Samsung makes great hardware. It's a beautiful screen that can also give you enough camera flexibility, especially with that zoom. That was always the one thing I missed with the camera phone is getting a decent zoom. The optical zoom up to 30 is pretty darn good. So I'll have a more fulsome review after a week or so. I like to give myself some time with this, but I think so far very impressive. And if you can get it at
600, yeah.
600. That's pretty tempting. Pretty tempting. Should we do some more calls?
I wonder if we should take a break first and then do some more calls.
I think you're smart. You're a wise man. And of course, I want to talk to you about how my night's sleep was. How was your night's sleep?
Excellent.
You seem perky, bright as a button, wide awake, ready to face the world, as am I. And we both have the 8 Sleep pod cover, so that tells you something. Good sleep is so important. It's the one thing. It's this. They say, and I think this is true. It's the one health thing you can do that really makes a big, noticeable, immediate difference to your overall health and well-being. Getting a good night's sleep. It's for some of us, it's the holy grail. For a lot of us, it's the impossible dream. You wake up in the middle of the night sweating, you're uncomfortable, or you're cold. It's hard to get a perfect night's sleep. And of course, there's a lot of things that contribute to it. But I have to say, temperature might be you did a lot of studying for your sleep podcast. I would submit temperature might be the single most important thing. There's a lot of other things, noise, light, the comfort of your bed, and all of that. But when it comes down to temperature, nothing works better than the 8 Sleep. It really, not only does it keep you from getting too cold or too warm, it actually helps you get a deeper night's sleep. It turns out that as you go from waking to light sleep to REM sleep, that dream sleep, and then finally into the most important stage of sleep, of which probably only a quarter of your time in bed is spent, is the deep sleep. That's the sleep where you're dead to the world. You are not dreaming. Your brain is being cleaned. It's the cleaning cycle in your brain. All of the prions and the garbage is just cleaned out of it. That's really the most important part. That deep sleep, it turns out, is facilitated by bringing the temperature down a little bit. Not that you're so cold that you're waking up freezing, but cold, a little chillier. And that's what the 8 Sleep does. It's so cool. They have an autopilot feature that you set initially. You say, I want to go to bed and I want to have it set it at 5, and then I want it to go down to 3. You get to, and then it watches. It watches your tossing and turning. It watches the room temperature. It watches your breathing. And it subtly adapts the temperature to facilitate deep sleep. So you'll notice as you use your 8 Sleep, over the weeks and months that you use it, your deep sleep gets longer and longer. Of course, the 8 Sleep has all of those metrics built into it. It's got sensors throughout it. So it knows, and you can see in the morning how good your sleep was, how much movement you had, how much time you spent in deep sleep and so forth. And you'll see over time an increase. In my case, it was about a 50% increase in deep sleep.
Wow.
I think it's about 30% is the average. That makes a big difference. The pod cover fits any mattress. They have a mattress too. You can get a mattress. We liked our mattress, so we just got the cover. We've had it for about a year now. And it allows you to adjust the temperature, okay, on 2 sides, right? So it's dual zone temperature, so you and your partner get your choice on both sides of the bed. It can be as cool as 55 degrees or as hot as 110 degrees. Now, that's a big difference. So in the summertime, for instance, if you're waking up with night sweats and just feeling icky, it's nice. It's refreshing. You get in bed and it's cool. In the winter, it's warm. That's the other thing. I found we don't have to heat the house at night anymore or cool it in the summertime because the bed does it for you. You're comfortable in the bed. It adjusts throughout the night to limit the number of wake-ups, to increase your deep sleep, to make you feel better. And I'll tell you what, in the morning, it's got a little vibration alarm that'll wake you up. I don't use that. I don't need it because I set it to just warm up, and I wake up because it's like, oh, it's cozy, comfy. I have to say, this is the only negative, and I will be honest, there's a negative. You don't want to get out of bed. It's so comfortable. It's so cozy. It's so wonderful. Better sleep. It's the health habit you'll love sticking to night after night. Wake up fully energized with the pod cover so you can face the world feeling great. Go to 8sleep.com/twit, EIGHTSLEEP. Save $150 at checkout on the pod cover. They currently ship, you'll be glad to know, Mark, in Australia, the select countries in the EU, the UK, Canada, and of course the US. 8sleep.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting Ask the Tech Guys. We love our sponsors. And, of course, we're very careful. We pick them because we believe in them. We love them. And we use them. And both Micah and I and Ant, too, are all happy 8Sleep users. Was it hard for you to put on, Ant? Did you have to lift the mattress? I think Ant's asleep.
He's focused.
He's literally sleeping. Oh, no, he woke up. It's okay. Never mind. I don't want to bother you, Ant. I was just wondering, how did you sleep last night? Did you sleep well?
Like a full grizzly bear.
Like a grizzly bear. You know, that's grizzly bears. They go in the cave in the winter and they sleep really well because it's a little chilly. I swear to God, there's something going on there. Ant sleeps even when there's no 8 sleep. All right, let's... I'm just teasing you. Let's go on with the show. We've got a few more minutes before we wrap things up. What do you want to do? Your choice.
Should we take a call? One more call? We got anybody else to call?
I got calls. I got calls. Wait a minute. Let me look at the Zoom. I love it that Eric is still driving. Eric, did you show us the view out the window for a while? Because it looked like you were driving. It looked like the Penn Jillette game where they're Las Vegas. Desert bus. They're driving from Las Vegas. There it is. Look at that. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he looks like he's driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. I love it. All right, we don't have to talk to you. You didn't want to talk, but we do want to go to Portugal.
All the way to Portugal.
And the man, get it, from Portugal, John is on the line. You know, there's a band. There's a guy band.
Portugal the Man.
Oh, okay, just making sure you.
Oh yeah,
got
sorry.
That joke.
Good joke.
Can't hear him. All right, we'll take.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear you. Suddenly,
it's a miracle.
Da, 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 da.
Hey, John.
It worked.
Yay! How you doing? How's life in the Algarve?
It's great.
So jealous. What town is that behind you there?
That is a picture of Cascais, which is outside of Lisbon.
Nice. Going to be there in a couple of months. First time in Portugal. We're going to on a cruise from Lisbon to Rome, but we're going to spend a few days in Lisbon to get to know the city a little bit. It looks beautiful. I can't wait. So what can we do to help you, John?
I've been having problems with ExpressVPN from the standpoint of when I use Chrome, it throws up multiple captions. Only when I'm on the VPN.
Oh, I could tell you about that. I could tell you about that. That's not ExpressVPN's fault. That's Google saying, "Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Suspicious activity.
Suspicious activity." And in a way, that underscores the benefit of using a VPN. Google wants to know who you are so they can keep track of everything you do. And if you're coming in from a new IP address, it knows it's still you because you're logged into your Google, right? This is Google's great trick was, well, you want to use YouTube, you want to use Gmail, you want to use any of our services, log in. And you know, we won't make you log in again and again. We'll keep you logged in. We'll put a cookie on your drive. Google keeps track of, this proves Google keeps track of where you log in from. All of a sudden, you're logging in from a different country because you're in Portugal, but you're using ExpressVPN, I presume, to watch TV in America or do something in America, right? Bank.
Yes. It's for TV mostly.
So Google says, well, you were in Portugal, now you're in the U.S. You better solve this CAPTCHA to prove this isn't some sort of malicious activity. So that's why. And you know what? It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it.
And it's going to happen anywhere. I've had this when I have ExpressVPN turned on from Los Angeles, the Los Angeles location. It will do the same thing to me. And I think part of it, too, is not only just Google wanting to know who you are, but if the system that is not run by a human being sees multiple people coming from this same IP, it starts to wonder, is this a bot? Is this, is this a real person or is this a bot?
That may even be more the reason, yeah.
So I've had that, and anytime I use the San Francisco one, because that's the one that we're closer to, I don't have that issue because I guess not as many people are using that one. But yeah, Los Angeles in particular, it starts to get quizzical, and it's like, okay, there are a lot of people coming from this address. Is this a denial of service attack, or are you actually real?
Oh, that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah, because I tend to use the default ones like New Jersey, New York.
So try using a different locale and see if it's better.
Yeah.
That will be a less used IP. Google's smart. I don't think they use any one signal.
Right.
I mean, it's all algorithmic, and they have a variety of signals, and there's probably a score. And if you go above a certain threshold, it's going to say, well, we've got to take an extra step to make sure you're you. So but that's a good thing I didn't even think of. That makes a lot of sense. Use a lesser known IP address. Go to one of the addresses that's less used. One of the things I like about ExpressVPN, I should have mentioned at the front, they're our sponsor. But one of the things I like about them is that they rotate IPs a lot. Because, like BBC's iPlayer, you've probably seen this. Even our own chat, we will block VPNs. The only way we know it's a VPN is because you're coming from a known IP address, a known VPN IP address. So if they use new IP addresses a lot, you'll get less of this Google complaint. You'll be able to get into iPlayer. You'll be able to get into our chat room and stuff like that. So that's one possible remedy. Don't go through the first thing it chooses for you. Try because
that's going to be what most people are doing.
See, everybody comes in through Boise. See if that works.
Yeah, okay.
Just tell them first of all, it's 9 o'clock at night, yeah? Or 9 or 10?
Yeah, 9:21.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling on the couch.
Nice. Was it a beautiful day in Portugal?
Yeah, it was perfect. It was like 19 degrees, or it would be about 60.
That's perfect. 60. Yeah, that's perfect. Very nice.
Hey, I've got one more burning question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. Is it safe to use the logins for when websites ask you to log in with Facebook or Google?
Safe is...
Yes, it's safe.
Yeah, the wrong word, I think.
Is it private? No.
Yeah.
It scares me. It doesn't seem secure as
it's no. Okay, in that regard, it is. Secure. It's very secure. In fact, it might be more secure than using a password. However, I don't do it. And the reason I don't do it is because it gives them information. There's other issues, too. If you lost your Google account or you lost your Facebook account through no fault of your own, if they decide, well, this guy's living in Portugal, he must be a terrorist, then all of a sudden you'll lose all those logins as well. I prefer to maintain my own logins. But if the question is it safe? Yes. In that regard, it's more secure than you using a password. These are well-run, companies. They're using something called OAuth, OAuth, to do it. And it's a well-known universal standard. It's an open standard that works quite well. So Facebook, Twitter, Google all do it. It's reliable. Yeah. It's a convenience.
And it's super convenient. Yeah, the reason I don't use it is specifically the privacy thing. I just don't want Google knowing the 9 different sites where it's offering me to log in using Google. Right. I would rather just manage that myself.
Yeah, I'm increasingly de-Googling my life. I've moved to Neva as my search engine, Neeva. It's a paid search engine with no advertising. I've moved off Gmail. I don't use Google Calendars or Contacts anymore. I'm slowly de-Googling my life. Unfortunately, the company uses Google Workspaces. So I do have to maintain some Google presence. But I think it is possible. Was it Kevin Roos or a New York Times reporter some years ago? No, it wasn't. It was, I've forgotten who. But she decided not to see if she could not use Google. And it was virtually impossible several years ago to de-Google your life. I think it's getting easier and easier. She wanted to get all the big tech, Kashmir Hill, all the big tech out of her life. And at the time, not doable. Anyway, that's down a side path. Yes, use it.
So is Neva better than like Brave and those types of?
So Brave is a browser, and it has its own search engine. I haven't used the Brave search engine much. I use Neva for two reasons. One, it's former Googlers started this, and they've been doing it for some time. So their index is very good. I find Neva's search is just as good as Google's search. But there are no ads. And so there's no conflict of interest either. The problem with Google is it has a little bit of a conflict of interest. It has all these things it would like to show you, like YouTube. And so I don't want that bias introduced into the search results. So that's why I use Neva. They also have an AI engine at the top that gives you AI search results and they did this before Bing or anybody else, and that's pretty good. It's a great summary of what you might find if you clicked on some of the links below. It has a lot of additional features, including, by the way, I think a year free of LastPass or Dashlane, and a year free of a VPN, I believe. It has some nice additional stuff for $5 a month. So yeah, I've been trying it, and I actually like it quite a bit. The only downside to it is it's not as fast as Google. Google's remarkable. It comes up with the answer to your search query in less than a second most times. I mean, almost instantaneously. And you'll notice, it takes a second or two for Neva, which we're so used to the instant results. I've gotten over that. Yeah, I like Neva. It's worth a try. But Neva's not alone. There are now more and more competition for Google. It's very interesting. There's U.com, which uses also an AI. There's Ecosia, which is designed to plant trees, because as you may know, every time you use any kind of cloud service, it's using energy. It's adding carbon to the atmosphere. So Ecosia, I don't know how you pronounce it, is designed to kind of do carbon offsets for that. A lot of new choices. And even Bing, I have to say, now that Bing has chat, is an interesting choice. I think Bing has the same conflict of interest, unfortunately, that Google does. I think in the long run, I'm going to prefer to use a search engine that is not ad supported, because I want my search results to be as far as possible completely agnostic.
Yep.
Right. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoy some fine Porto wine. And we'll talk to you again soon, John. Take care.
Até logo.
I can't say that. I can't. It's a hard language. All I can say is obrigado. Obrigado. We have time for one more. Why don't we do a video?
The video from email? Yeah.
Hey, I'm Eric from Wisconsin. We got a blizzard outside today, and one of my projects is trying to get rid of Yahoo Mail. I want to have all my Yahoo Mail go to Gmail. So I followed the directions, but now it says you have to have a Yahoo Plus account in order to forward all your mail automatically. I don't want to buy into Yahoo. I really don't want to get rid of Gmail either. I know there's fast mail and other things that you guys like, but I just want to know how I can dump Yahoo and have everything end up in Gmail, and from now on have all my people respond to me at Gmail. Thanks for your help on this one. Listen to you guys all the time when I'm walking the dog. No dog walking today, though. Thanks, guys.
I thought Eric was going to play for us. Darn it.
I know. I was
waiting for him to use that trumpet. He's holding a trumpet the whole time. Next time I want to hear the trumpet. Yeah. Well, there's two ways to do this. You can have Yahoo forward the mail to Gmail, or you can have Gmail log into your Yahoo mail account and get it. And I think that would work even without Yahoo Plus.
Yeah, I suggest doing it all from the Google side, because then you shouldn't have to have that Yahoo Plus account. That's honestly, that is very upsetting if Yahoo is doing that. If they're now making
Well, they don't want you to move, right?
Right. But why don't they? Because they don't do they really want to do email?
They don't want to be in the business, it's clear. So if you go into the pop and email settings in Google, you can have Google act like a mail client, like your mail on your desktop or your Thunderbird or whatever you use, and go out and fetch the mail. And Yahoo, from Yahoo's point of view, I don't think it could stop that or charge you for that because it's like any other email client, just logging in and getting the mail. The advantage of doing that is you just use one email account, your Gmail account, and it will fetch mail from any other account, not just Yahoo, but any other account you want. So go in the pop-in email settings on Gmail and set that up, and you should be good. Hey, I want to, he now has his hand raised, the other Eric, but I want to go to you just to see where you're driving to, and then we're going to wrap things up. Eric, on the road to somewhere, and actually, it looks like such a straight highway that I'm not worried about you running into anything. Hi, Eric.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Sound great.
I just want to say I've been watching your show listening to the show for a very long time. I actually visited the Brick House in 2016, and I got a picture sitting in your chair with you next to me wearing that funny hat. I forget what it's called. The Fez. Truly enjoyed that experience.
Oh, that's so great. Where are you driving to?
I'm headed to St. George, Utah. I'm going to be rolling to Vegas right now in like 2 minutes. It's right in front of me.
I thought it looked a little like the Vegas area. Yeah. How nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I know for the longest time on your radio show, you always recommended Parrot headsets for truck drivers.
Listen how good that sounds.
I am I'm not using Parrot. I'm actually using I'm actually using Shocks.
I thought
I love the Shocks.
Yeah.
I have the OpenComs. Alex Lindsay recommended those.
That's what I'm talking around, the OpenCom. They're absolutely amazing.
And very comfortable and safe to use while you're driving because they don't go in your ear.
Right. I have sensitive ears, and I've tried many in-ear and over-the-ear headsets, and they all bother me within about an hour of wearing them.
Yes.
So I switched away from them, and I got turned on to these. I don't remember how. Bought them right away, and they work amazing. You can wear these for like 8 hours a day, and you don't even feel like you have them on.
So, and I hear zero road noise. It sounds really good.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some wind. My cab's pretty quiet. There's just some wind noise around me. But
you're driving without a load. Driving without a load today, I see.
No, I got a trailer behind me, and I'm carrying lumber up to St. George, Utah, and I'll deliver it tomorrow on the way back to Southern California.
That's hard.
But I do have a question if you have time. But
sure, why not? Go ahead. I love riding in the cab with you.
I know,
this is great.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I have my GPS up, so I got my eyes on the road. So I'm using an iPad Mini Pro, I think it is.
Good.
And I use it with the trucker GPS, and it's amazing because I usually listen to you guys to your show on YouTube live, to get the show.
Yeah.
I will have to say the audio is better on YouTube when you're streaming on Sunday than it is on Zoom, but either of them work fine.
Yeah. YouTube.
But I'm able to minimize it and just keep my GPS up, and it works perfect.
Good. Wonderful.
To go back to my question, so I was fortunate enough to buy a house that was networked. Basically, it had Ethernet in every room, and I use Orbi mesh routers, and I have them all hardwired, so they're all backlogged to the network.
Perfect.
And it works amazing. And I try and keep as many devices as I can hardwired to my network at home, and I have fiber, so everything works great. But one thing I'm not sure about was I oftentimes, if I'm adding something, I'm running out of Ethernet ports, even with the Orbi and their satellites, because they only have 1 or 2 ports on the back, so I run switches.
Right.
But I don't buy the really expensive big switches with 20 ports. I have smaller Netgear ones. I think have like 6 or 8.
Yeah.
But my question is, how many internet switches can an internet switch? How many can
you can put as many as you want on?
You can daisy chain them as
I mean, I think it depends on the IP pool you have. You're probably limited to 255 devices, but still, you can have plenty. Because the switches are powered, and most switches do some management, you don't have an issue. In fact, if you really want to add to it, you could use managed switches and then create VLANs, and you'd have an unlimited supply.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but I was always afraid to add another switch to get more ports without having to buy a new switch that was bigger with more ports and then screw up my network.
I think the only limit is the number of IP addresses you can support. Scooter X is 253. So
I've got 3 8 port switches running in different parts of my
24 ports.
Yeah. Wow. So one of them is connected directly from my router. Or actually two of them are. And then I've got a third one that is being run via a Mocha adapter, and I have no problems with, even with all of that complexity, those 3 different 8 port switches all work just fine on my network at home.
Okay. Excellent to know. Thank you.
Hey, it's great to see. Now I understand. I thought you didn't have a load, but actually, because you do have a load, your rear screen looks like is a mirror, and that's why stuff's confusing. Coming towards you. It was very confusing. Now I understand. Very nice.
And here's Vegas. Vegas is right here. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we were looking at over on your left there, the Dean Martin Towers. We were thinking about a condo there. Anyway, that's great. It's got a great view. That really looks good. What is the camera? Is that the iPad's camera?
This is the iPad. I'm running all iPad. And earlier, when I normally just use YouTube and watch you live, but I had to stop anyway for a break. So I stopped and I said, I'm going to try the Zoom.
I
had to switch over my Bluetooth and everything to my headset, but I couldn't do that while I'm driving. Because I run my iPhone and my iPad, but the iPad's typically just for listening to it's paired to this truck, so I can listen through the truck stereo for audio, and then I just run the GPS. But I had to switch it all over during my break, but it's working now. So
very nice. I have a 64 port switch on my
Holy
router.
God! Probably with some power over Ethernet, eh?
Yeah, PoE, and then I have at each base station where every TV is and every desk is, I have a 4 to 8 port router. So I don't even know how many ports I have, but I have plenty. It's virtually unlimited, just the number of IP addresses you can have. Hey, a real pleasure talking to you. Drive safe. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Next week. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Leo Laporte here. I am the founder and one of the hosts at the Twit Podcast Network. I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do here at Twit, because I think it's unique. And I think for anybody who is bringing a product or a service to a tech audience, you need to know about what we do here at Twit. We've built an amazing audience of engaged, intelligent, affluent listeners who listen to us and trust us when we recommend a product. Our mission statement as Twit is to build a highly engaged community of tech enthusiasts. Boy, already your ears should be perking up at that, because highly engaged is good for you. Tech enthusiasts, if that's who you're looking for, this is the place. We do it by offering them the knowledge they need to understand and use technology in today's world. And I hear from our audience all the time, part of that knowledge comes from our advertisers. We are very careful. We pick advertisers with great products, great services, with integrity, and introduce them to our audience with authenticity and genuine enthusiasm. And that makes our host-read ads different from anything else you can buy. We are literally bringing you to the attention of our audience and giving you a big, fat endorsement. We like to create partnerships with trusted brands who are in it for the long run, long-term partners that want to grow with us. And we have so many great success stories. Tim Broom, who founded IT Pro TV in 2013, started advertising with us on day one, has been with us ever since. He said, quote, "We would not be where we are today without the Twit network." I think the proof is in the pudding. Advertisers like IT Pro TV and Audible that have been with us for more than 10 years, they stick around because their ads work. And honestly, isn't that why you're buying advertising? You get a lot with Twit. We have a very full service attitude. We almost think of it as kind of artisanal advertising, boutique advertising. You'll get a full service continuity team. People who are on the phone with you, who are in touch with you, who support you with everything from copywriting to graphic design. So you are not alone in this. We embed our ads into the shows. They're not added later. They're part of the shows. In fact, often they're such a part of our shows that our other hosts will chime in on the ad saying, "Yeah, I love that." Or just the other day, one of our hosts said, "Man, I really got to buy that." That's an additional benefit to you because you're hearing people our audience trusts, saying, yeah, that sounds great. We always over-deliver on impressions, so you know you're going to get the impressions you expect. The ads are unique every time. We don't pre-record them and roll them in. We are genuinely doing those ads in the middle of the show. We'll give you great onboarding services. Ad tech with pod sites that's free for direct clients. Gives you a lot of reporting, gives you a great idea of how well your ads are working. You'll get courtesy commercials. You actually can take our ads and share them across social media and landing pages. That really extends the reach. There are other free goodies too, including mentions in our weekly newsletter that's sent to thousands of fans, engaged fans who really want to see this stuff. We give you bonus ads and social media promotion too. So if you want to be a long-term partner, introduce your product to a savvy, engaged tech audience. Visit twit.tv/advertise. Check out those testimonials. Mark McCrary is the CEO of Authentic. You probably know him, one of the biggest original podcast advertising companies. We've been with him for 16 years. Mark said the feedback from many advertisers over 16 years across a range of product categories, everything from razors to computers, is that if ads and podcasts are going to work for a brand, they're going to work on Twitch shows. I'm very proud of what we do because it's honest, it's got integrity, it's authentic, and it really is a great introduction to our audience of your brand. Our listeners are smart, they're engaged, they're tech savvy, they're dedicated to our network, and that's one of the reasons we only work with high integrity partners that we've personally and thoroughly vetted. I have absolute approval on everybody. If you've got a great product, I want to hear from you. Elevate your brand by reaching out today at advertise@twit.tv. Break out of the advertising norm. Grow your brand with host-read ads on twit.tv. Visit twit.tv/advertise for more details, or you can email us advertise@twit.tv if you're ready to launch your campaign now. I can't wait to see your product. So give us a ring.
We've got one more call.
One more call.
One more call to do.
Okay, let's do that call. We're almost out of time. We're getting ready for
call with Laura.
This Week in Tech. And okay, let's pick up Laura. Send a breakout. All right, we're going to pick up Laura and find out where she's calling from. Wait a minute, that's my office.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's Kim Schaffer. Are you Laura Jimenez, the board op? Who's running Rich DeMuro's show? What the heck is going on? Oh, yeah, it's Sunday. Hi, that's Laura.
That's Professor Laura.
Professor Laura, our musical director. And Kim Schaffer there, and she's holding Lily, the beautiful pup. Well, so nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Well, yeah. I mean...
You're in the other room.
That's a really cool office. I wish I was here more often.
Yeah. See, that's where I was broadcasting from all that time. I'm sorry, I haven't aired it out in a while.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Smells a little suspicious in here.
Yeah. Laura, what brings you up here?
To visit friends, my internet friends.
Nice.
I would say internet friends, so I've never met you guys.
We have never. Professor Laura worked my show for more than a year. How many years did you work on the Tech Guy show?
3 years.
3 years as musical director. That's longer than anybody. And of course, she was a huge part of the show because she played all the great music and pushed the buttons. And
lots of references when people passed away.
She was good.
Yeah.
She was very good. Are you still working for the Premier Radio Networks?
I am not anymore.
No.
I'm a free agent.
She's moved on. She's moved on. And Kim, though, is, right? Kim, you're still doing call screening for Rich.
I am working with Rich every Saturday from 11 to 2.
Nice. Do you do it from in your jammies?
I do. It's so nice to come to a learn set for 10:50, get things set up, and go.
Oh,
no
wow.
commute.
So they should have told me the call was coming from inside the house.
Inside the house, yeah.
It is so great to see you both, and I do miss working with both of you. That was a lot of fun.
Same.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Well, I'll come out and see you after the show.
Yeah.
Laura and Kim, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And
both.
that is a great way to wrap up this Sunday edition of Ask the Tech Guys, episode 1962. I wonder what Laura would be playing from 1962 for this. Unfortunately, unlike the radio stations, we don't have the rights to play actual music. So you'll just have to hum Tiptoe Through the Tulips in your head or whatever it is that was a big hit. It sure was an Elvis song in 1962. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Again, if you want to send us an email question, and I apologize, we want to get to more of those. We will as we get better at doing all of this. Ask the Tech Guys at twit.tv. We'll be back next Sunday. You can call us using Zoom at call.twit.tv. You'll find Micah Sargent on iOS Today. That's every Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And every Thursday on Tech News Weekly with Jason Howell. What is it, about noon that you do that?
11 a.m. Pacific, yeah.
11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. All of that can be seen live.twit.tv. That's the live stream. And, of course, you can watch us do the show, as our trucker friend was saying, on YouTube or anywhere, or just from our website at twit.tv/live. We do Ask the Tech Guys on a Sunday, round about 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC. Watch live. If you're watching live, irc.twit.tv is the chat room. You can hang there. Of course, our Club Twit members like to hang out in the Discord. That's one of the benefits of Club Twit. Just go to twit.tv/clubtwit to find out. $7 a month. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get special access to the Discord, special features that we don't provide anywhere else, including Micah's show, Ask the Tech Guy.
Hands on Mac.
Oh, yeah. Hands on Mac. This is Ask the Tech Guys. Okay. Yeah. Hands on Mac, and Paul Thurata's window. I'm actually a little discombobulated to see Laura is over there. Bring her in here so she can say goodbye with everybody else. Join the club. Club Twit is at twit.tv/clubtwit. It helps us out a huge amount. It lets us do shows like this, do new shows, keep the lights on, keep the fabulous staff employed. Speaking of staff, thank you so much to Ant Pruitt, who comes in every Sunday to help us do this show. We appreciate it, even if he does nap during the show.
He was just focused.
I appreciate
you.
I appreciate
just in the zone.
To John Slanina, who is our studio manager and has been since day one. He is vital to the operation. Our producer is John Ashley. At the board, Benito. Hey, are you at the board, Benito, there? Yes, there's Benito. And, of course, Burke McQuinn, who fixes anything that's broken. Come here, Laura and Kim, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. That was sneaky of you. There they are. Help us say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. On behalf of Micah Sargent, Laura Jimenez, Kim Schaffer. Move over, Kim. You're not in the shot. There you are. And Lily the dog. We'll see you next time on Ask the Tech Guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. If you love all things Android, well, I've got a show for you to check out. It's called All About Android, and I'll give you 3 guesses what we talk about. We talk about Android, the latest news, hardware, apps. We answer feedback. It's me, Jason Howell, Ron Richards, WinTwit Dow, and a whole cast of awesome characters talking about the operating system that we love. You can find All About Android at twit.tv/AAA.